Thank you and good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge we're in Treaty One territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Inuit Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. I'd like to introduce the members of the panel this morning. With me via Zoom are Linda McFadden and Richard Whitbread. And this morning I'll be chairing the hearing. My name is Mike Caltruglio. From the assessment department, we have Marina Tenwara. And from the administrative personnel, we have Sally Caulfield. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the hearing. Kindly follow along the City of Winnipeg Board Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We'll be hearing application for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested has been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of property are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by council and is independent of it and the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decision with respect to application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to Court of King's Bench if matter pertains to application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all evidence about the application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We'll be hearing item number 2 on the docket today. Ms. Caulfield, could you affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony, please?
Please state your full name.
Marina Gantika Tenwara.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your full name.
Wesley Van Bruggen.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your full name.
Carson John Horsborough.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'd like to just quickly, I noticed this is Grand Park Shopping Center. And just for my own understanding, it's a rather large assessment. The main points of contention are what exactly?
Quantity.
Just the quantum?
Quantity, yes.
Okay. And is it a cap rate issue or is it a rental issue?
Everything.
Everything's on the table.
Yeah.
Ms. Tenwara, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to give a brief introduction before I start this hearing. This is all about the property assessment. So this property called Grand Park Shopping Center, located in 1080 Grant Avenue. This property classified as a regional shopping center, located very close to the Grand Park Collegiate and the Pan Am Panapur. So the current valuation is 98,260,000, which is not a original 2025 value. This is the agreed by, this value is agreed by vision by agreement for 2025. This is the assessment cycle of 2025 and 2026. Beginning of 2025, we signed the revision by agreement with on behalf of the owner with the different agent. So I wanted to give some kind of, this is not the model driven value. This is tailored market value for Grand Park Shopping Center. But unfortunately, for 2026 year, owner decided to reappeal for the property. But here I am to discuss the why and the value, all of those. So original valuation, I'm telling, is a 108,010,000, which was the original value for 2025 for this cycle. So we negotiated. We came to the value 98,260,000 is the appropriate market value for Grand Park Shopping Center. So I believe it was communicate with the owners, and it was done by the all of responsibilities is done by this that way. And also I want to give a little bit of background. This 15-1 value, we signed the period of commercial value review program. In my briefs, page 103, we attached the brochure because that's the time period allows to sign the 15-1 document, June 5th to July 2nd. We signed this 15-1 agreement and that period of time. This it is kind of new to the department, but we are following those kind of things last 2 years. That's the one of the reason I want to show this one, because it's not in the appeal history for that one. If you just said the appeal history, it won't show as the Grand Park was appealed for 2025 year and we signed the 15-1, it was withdrawn. It's nothing showing the system because we signed the 15-1 document with this period of time. Page 103 shows the brochure. And also, when we alter the Grand Park Shopping Center, we go through cap rate evidence, shortfall, vacancy rates, and all the anchor tenants' rental rates. What would be the market rents for the anchor tenants, because they play the crucial role in valuation, and we went through all of those ones. I can assure our rental rates are very fair and reasonable. I attached the page 103. That's the Board of Regents appeal history for this property. None of the board BA tenants appeal for the BA. No BA appeal for after 2020 year, because we value this property very fairly. When we negotiate for these properties, we do really good job for the fair for all the tenants. None of the tenants have appealed for this property. Even Canadian Tire, which pays $6.75 as a contract rent, even they did not appeal for this property because we negotiate with Canadian Tire agents specifically before we set up the value for this property. We negotiate with Landmark Cinema agents before we set up the value for this property. We negotiate all of those individual anchor tenants before we set up the value for this property. That's why none of them are appealed for the DA. Because if we don't do those ones, they would have appealed for those ones. And we will show in the history, the law. So that's the background about little bit about this one. I will go through, when I do my presentation, I will explain all of the tenants we negotiated for the larger anchor tenants and how we came up with the valuation. because we started from mass appraisal. Every valuation we start with the mass appraisal. But we altered, go through all the tenant information, we go through all the shortfall, vacancy and cap rate. We adjust those sides before sign the 15-1 document. So here's the valuation, history about the property, why about the 98,000. This is the old history about 98,260,000. Now this is I'm going through my brief. So this is, as I explained, this is a regional shopping center. It has a gross floor area of 482,480. Leasable area is 408,645. My page number 2 shows the property lease information. Those are the reflection of the rent roll. So you can see all of the tenants, not all the tenants, or some tenants information, lease information here. And my page number 4 is a location map, and it's a very generic information. And page number 5.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I'm a little bit confused. Are we going through the review or did I miss the reading in of the file and all the rest of it? I thought we were in a preamble.
I think that she's completed her preamble at this point, Mr. Whitbread. I believe she's now moving into her evidence for the appeal that we have before us, sir.
As she submitted to us. And did I miss her reading in the file number and the rest of it?
I believe she did not, and that's something that, thank you for pointing
Yes,
out.
I'll read the file number. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry, just want to follow procedure.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely,
sorry.
sir.
Yes.
And sorry, you could jump back to page 4 or 5 or wherever you were.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for reminding me. Okay. File number 25-469. Applicant MNP Limited, property address 1080 Grant Avenue, roll number 120-140-73000. Property owner Grand Park Venture Inc.
File number.
25-469.
Thank you.
And current valuation for the property 98,260,000.
That's
8,260.
great. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
We can go back to page 4 then if you like.
Yeah. Page 4 is a location map. It's a Google location map. And page 5, it's showing where it's located. And page 6 is the Google Street View. Page 7 continue this Google Street View. Page 8 is some photos taken by me. Page 9, those are the inside pictures of the mall. I was taken these pictures on October 19th at 12:45 p.m. Photos taken by me. Those are the inside the mall. You can see Winners and MLCC and atrium. And some corridors showing the tenants. It's the time I taken properties is a very pretty busy time in the mall. And you can see people in there, and also some kind of reuse book fair kind of thing happening inside. It's every weekend I realize the Grand Park Shopping Center has some kind of event. It's a seniors event, book fair, craft shows, and those whatnot, those kind of things. And page number 14, up to page number 14, photos continue. Page number 15, I put comparables. Comparables within the shopping malls, within the regional shopping malls. I use all of the regional shopping malls. Rental rates are showing here higher than what we use for Grand Park Shopping Center. All the rental rates are higher than what we use. This is just the benchmark about the tenants, what the tenants pay for regional shopping centers within the Winnipeg. Then I categorize the tenants based on the size, small size CRUs. Those are the lower than 1,000 square feet. They rent the lower than 1,000 square feet area. You can see rental rates. Rental rates vary from $45 to $105. And second, I put the medium size CRUs. Those are more than 1,000 square feet to 3,372. Rent vary $40 for $75. It is from Fort Park, some from KP, some from Outlet Mall, everything in there. I only want to show the tenant rental rates. And then larger CRUs. Larger CRUs are the higher, bigger units, more than 4,000 to 10,000. It's there. And also they pay $26 to 75 cents. And Victoria's Secret in Polo Park paying 12,704 square feet at $75 per square feet. Those things are, none of those rents are not reflected on the Grand Park Shopping Center. Grand Park Shopping Center rents are very low. Those are the kiosk rent. And also warehouse rents. I put warehouse rents. We don't have much warehouse inside the regional shopping centers. I put common warehouse rents. The standalone warehouse rents. You can see rental rates from $10.25 to $18. There. And also bank rents. Bank rents are, all of the bank rents are standalone bank rents. I don't use the attached CRU type bank rents. I only use all of the standalone bank. You can see the rental rates. It's starting $31 to goes up to $47. It's a Taylor Grand 1,100 Taylor is a very close proximity to the Cambrian Credit Union. They pay $47 per square feet, standalone Scotiabank. Restaurant rent also the same, standalone restaurant within the city. We have different rates, all the rates $30 to 47 cents rental rates we use there. Now I'm moving to regional shopping center. How we value this regional shopping center. You can see all the unit sizes. Unit sizes vary from 800. Unit size vary between numbers. Then I will talk a little bit more about the rental rates. I'm kindly asking to move to restaurant, page number 21, restaurant rental rates. We have Applebee's and we use $26.22. Actually, Applebee's paying $31.25 reported. And Pilon McCool, we use $29.12. Actual restaurant pay $32. When you see my page number 32 or attached rent roll, you can see the numbers. Reading numbers are correct, accurate. McDonald's we use 31.68. And we have two different promises for the McDonald's. We have main floor area and basement floor area. We use two different rents. We use $31.68 for the main floor and $10.41 for the basement. But reported rent is 7,500 square feet times $32.83. It's so much higher rents they actually pay than what we are using. And so those are the summary about the restaurant. Actually, when I go through this exercise, I realize our rental rates are too low. We should have used the higher rental rates than what we are using as a model-driven rental rates for the restaurant, with considering the market evidence. So that's about the rental rates. Then I'm asking to move to page for the back.
Sorry, I didn't hear that page number.
Oh, give me 1 second. I try to find my bank page. 22. Sorry, I'm missing on my 22 page on my brief.
Probably things you have it. Page 22, I think.
Yeah, page number 22. Sorry about, I'm missing my page because when I go through these ones, it omits the page number. Page number 22, standalone Cambrian Credit Union. We use $35 per square feet. They pay $35 per square feet because we altered the rental rates. Our original rents before this one, before negotiations, you can see our original rental rates are high. We adjusted 35. Then I come to inside the old bank. That's the CIBC, page number 19. Promise ID 14274, Bank Credit Union, CIBC. You can see 5,950 square feet, CIBC Bank.
Sorry, May, just, you said to go to page 90, did you?
Page 19,
19,
119.
sorry,
One,
my
sorry,
apologies.
no.
I just lost track for a moment.
Okay, page 19.
19, okay, go
Page
ahead.
19. You can see B1, Bank Credit Union, 5,950 square feet. We use $33.70. They pay $34.50. Page number 330 on income expenses mailer attached show the correct number. So, sorry about moving here and there for the pages, but I wanted to focus on all the negotiated rents. Negotiated rents are lower than what they actually collecting. So I'm moving to page number 23. I want to focus on movie theater, Landmark Cinema. We use $11 Landmark Cinema. You can see C8 Cinema Entertainment, 33,886. We use $11 per square foot. That's the rent we agreed with the Landmark Cinema. But they're actually paying $13 per square feet. So then now I move into large retailers, McNally Robbins. We use $17. We use $15.36. They're actually paying $17 per square feet. Everything is in the RWC page now. The winners. We use $14.07, which is 22,081 square feet. They actually paying $15 per square feet. MLCC, we pay $19 and we use $19.36. on 15,456 square feet size unit, they actually paid $27 per square feet. Because one of the highest rental paid MLCC is this one. Because when we give a weight for the market evidence, MLCC has a very vague range of rental rates. MLCC is starting everywhere. That's why our MLCC rental rates are lower than actually what they are collecting. Because we focus on what market rents. We don't focus on contract rents, what they're actually collecting. That's when we negotiate. So, Shoppers Drug Mart, the next one. Okay. We use $23.50. I think Shoppers Drug Mart is not in our WC page. Then I'm moving to, okay, Canadian Tire. I will move to Canadian Tire here. Canadian Tire, we use $12 per square feet, which is 86,365 square feet. We use $12 per square feet. But their contract rent is $6.75 because that's the unit used to be Target. When the Target went on bankruptcy, they have been through hard time and they want to find the tenants. They sign the lowest amount of rental rates with this Canadian Tire. And we have some retail warehouses, they pay lower rents because the Target converted to someone else. And they take their advantage, but those are not the model driven, those are not the market rates. The market rents for the retail warehouses, my comparable page shows the market rent for the retail warehouses. They agree with $12 per square feet for the Canadian Tire. Next one is the Good Life Fitness. We use the $14.80 for the Good Life Fitness, which is
Mrs. Sesser, would you please refer to the premise ID? So I'm finding it hard to follow you when you say Canadian Tire. I have to go looking for it. What premise ID are you talking about?
Okay, sure. I will do that next time. Okay,
Yeah.
and also Canadian Tire premise ID is 14265.
I figured that out. But the next one, please use
Okay.
IDs.
Okay, going forward, I'll do that. Sorry about that. So Good Life Fitness is the premise ID 28, 20, and 70. We use $14.80 as a model driven rents, but they actually paying $15.10. Those are the bigger tenants. Then I focus on the smaller tenants. The smaller tenants, we don't do those kind of negotiations. We don't do those kind of discuss about smaller tenants. Most of them we use model-driven market rents. So 33 tenants are smaller tenants. They have the less than 1,000 square feet units. And average rent, 15 of them, sorry about that. 15 tenants. I'm focusing on page number 19, but it's no premise ID I'm talking about because I'm talking about in general. But 15 of them are tenants are paying lower than 10,000 square feet. The average rent is $31.24 when I use those tenants. And 18 of them tenants are between 1,020 square feet to 4,069 square feet. The average rents are $28.61. There are 5 tenants are kiosk tenants, and their average rent is $224.17. So, all the rents are here are model driven. Except the negotiated rents for the separate bigger anchor tenant. When we do the mass appraisal, we mostly focus on potential rent, total potential rent. So, I put page number 24. It's a summary about how we value all the summary of the valuation. You can move to page number 24 now. We have 4 income streams separately. We have RSC income stream, which include all the tenants inside the mall. We have RST income stream. That's a restaurant income stream. Those are the stand-alone restaurant. We have bank income stream, but CIBC, we did not put inside the bank income stream because the CIBC located inside the mall. And we have RWC income stream. RW income stream has a bigger, larger tenants. Larger tenants, but those are, and from here, I will talk about the vacancy rates. We use the model driven vacancy rates for all of those tenants. Because it's the reported vacancy is so low, it's a 2% reported rate vacancy there. No need to have any vacancy allowance to given. So all the vacancy rates are model driven. Shortfall rates are model driven. We use $16 for the regional shopping center portion, mall portion, and $9 per square feet for income stream 2, restaurant portion. Income stream 3, $8 per square feet for income stream 3. For income stream 4, we use the $6.50 shortfall. Cap rate, negotiated cap rate. Our original cap rate is very different than overall average 6.65 cap rate. This is the negotiated cap rate. We said for the cap rate of 6.75 for the mall area, 6.75 for the restaurant area, 6.25 the brand bank area, 6.6 for the retail warehouse area. Following the rental cap rates we followed for the other regional shopping centers and centers. Our overall cap rate is 6.65. When you see the cap rate chart attached in page number 25, you can see regional shopping center cap rate vary 5.85 to 6.8. Our cap rate within the range of cap rate, city cap rates. Also, you can see the Colliers and CBRE and Cushman Mayfield cap rates. Our cap rate within the range of the cap rate. It's 6.65 overall cap rate, but we use the individual cap rates for the individual income streams. Now I'm moving to page number 27. Page number 27 is the attached income expenses mailer submitted by the owner. And as I told, you can see some rental rates. You can see landmark rental rates, reported rental rates is $13 in page number 30. If you follow the unit number 1280, CIBC rental rates, you can see their reported rental rates is $34.50, page number 30. I'm moving to page 31. You can see Red River Co-op anchor tenant, they pay $10.25 for the grocery store. Unit number 3530, McNair Robinson. They pay different rents. McNair Robinson pay 3 type of rents. McNair Robinson pay office rent, storage rent, and the retail warehouse rent. But we only use for retail rents for the valuation, which is $17, unit number 4000. Unit number 5000, you can see Manitoba Labor and Lottery. Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries pay $27 per square feet. Shoppers Drug Mart, next line, $23.50 per square feet. Page number 32. You can pay Good Life Witness pay unit 7000 pay $15.10. Applebee's pay $31.25. Unit number 9040. McDonald's pay 7,000 square feet times $32.83. And all the numbers, all the other ones are there too. Cambrian Credit Union pay $35 per square. And that page showing vacancy, only vacant is 8 units. Percentage is 2.69 vacancy rates, but we use the model driven 4, 5, those kind of vacancy rates. In overall, Grand Park Shopping Center operates very well. It's nothing changed from the 25-15 one we signed. It's operate as usual and actually thriving better and better and better. And I don't see any reason for this assessment revision again, but I will go through. So page number 34, 33, 34, their expenses, their income pages. And also I put other 2 years also, see the income expenses mailer, how they reported. And I'm not planning to go through all of those information because just for information only, I just put up last 2 cycle 2022 income expenses mailer and 2021 income expenses also in the brief. And also I put it because they have a footmark, this income expenses mailer for the 2 roll numbers. This is income expenses mailer for the 2 roll numbers, which is the roll number for the Grand Park Shopping Center and the roll number for the Red River Co-op gas station. You can see I have attached the brief for the other page number 69. Okay. Only reason I attached this one because if there is any question came up about this income expenses mailer sharing 2 roll numbers, I want to show you the other roll number is a small roll number, is only for the Red River Co-op gas station. It's page number 69. There's a brief attached for this cycle brief attached. That property also contested at the Board of Revision, and there's a Board of Revision order, page number 66 for those ones. Only reason I'm putting those information to give your attention. This is not big portion of income goes to this Red River Co-op gas station. The net operating income was ask for the 132, page number 683. I moved to page number 83. Sorry, I'm moving so fast. Page number 83, that's the applicant's brief. They reported here their net income of total net income for this operation is 132,483. And they are requested 6.25 cap rate. Okay, so, my intention, I want to give some attention about these ones, even though that first, income expenses mailer submitted for the two roll numbers, this roll number not have the big weight on this one, they are correcting amount of net operating income proportion is lower. Here, also they requested cap rate is 6.25. The board order used a 6% cap rate when they make a decision. Page number 67, there is a line showing how the board make a decision on this value. They use the net operating income from the applicant and cap rate uses 6% and also add the additional building value from the assessment department evidence. So because we don't like to see combined income expenses mailer. This is very complex when we see the combined income expenses mailer. That's the only reason I bring it this one here to show that the combined income expenses mailer reported, but it is a small property portion there. That's the reason. And I already discussed about the page number 101.
Can I just interrupt you for just 1 second? With respect to the Red River Co-op gas bar, is that a separate roll number?
It's a separate roll number,
Okay.
owned by
By the
the
same
same company, reported in the same
Okay.
income
So-
expenses manner.
That's not part of today's.
No,
Okay.
I
So you're just
only
bringing it forward for information.
information
I think
and
that we can move past that. I don't, there's really
don't
nothing
need to go
burns
through
on
it.
it.
Yes,
Yep,
no,
it's my,
yes,
I don't think the gentlemen here are worried about what happened on that other property because they were the assessor, the applicants of record, so we can move past that. Thank you.
yes, thank you. And page number 101.
Okay.
And I already talked about those ones, appeal search report. That's the only thing only reason I bring it here. None of the tenants appeal for the BA. That means every tenant in agreement to their rental rates. Assumption. But if they are not happy with their rental rates, if
They
they
would
have to,
appeal.
they would appeal. So. The other ones are my brochure pages, and those are the brochures sent with assessment letters to the owner. This is my presentation. I hope everyone understand. So I'm asking to confirm the value 98,260,000 for this.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, who is going to be asking questions?
So we'll both be asking questions, but we'll trade back and forth. We'll let you know,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair. All right, so let's just get started, to just kind of getting through some questions here. Sorry, just let me get just a sec, guys, here. If we can turn to page 1 of your brief, please.
Sure.
All right, so on page 1, the property is characterized as a regional mall, is that correct?
Yes.
How does the city of Winnipeg define regional malls? What consideration goes into making that determination of whether or not it's a regional mall?
It should be enclosed mall. And also it's the size of the mall. It's very, I think we have all the regional shopping regional shopping centers, we have more than 200,000 square feet. And we follow the guidelines of the regional shopping mall definitions. Those are the common things, and I can
sure.
tell the book definition. I think everyone knows the book definition for the regional shopping malls.
For sure. No, that makes sense. How many regional malls are in Winnipeg?
We classified as a 5 regional shopping malls there.
And which are the regional malls?
Polo Park, number 1. Outlet Mall Cave, number 2. KPM St. Vital. I don't know which one is better, but sometimes they can St. Vital KP. And again, Grand Park Shopping Center and Garden Shopping.
And Garden. So we've got, just to confirm, Polo Park, Outlet Mall, KP, St. Vital, Grand Park, and Garden City are the
Yes.
malls. Okay, alright. Have you, I guess the next question, have you personally inspected the property?
Oh, yes, many times.
Alright.
Every property, every regional shopping center.
Okay. So just when we're going through the property, you would agree that there is a second floor component to this one?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're gonna switch gears a little bit, just going to the rental rates. So you have to bear with me a little bit. I think you've alluded to some of this, so I think we can move through it fairly quickly. But just a couple questions. So on page 15 of your brief, you provided small size CRU comparables, is that correct?
Give me 1 second. Yes.
And again, just to confirm, and I think you had indicated this, I just want to make sure I'm clear on it. You had indicated that this cutoff for small size CRUs was under 1,000 square feet. That's not kiosk or
No, this
Okay.
not including kiosk.
not including kiosk.
100%.
Okay, all right. Okay, now if we can flip to your pages, here, so 2 and 3,
Page number 20.
yes, please. And if we can cross-reference
Yeah,
page 2. Okay, so well, the information we have on page 2 and 3 are the leasing from the subject properties, is that, for the subject property, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, looking at this leasing and focusing on units that are under 1,000 square feet. Would you agree that, and I think you had said there's about 13 of these small CRU units, is that correct?
Yes.
So you would, and I think you had mentioned this in your presentation, but just to be clear, as we take a look at the leasing on pages 2 and 3 for anything under 1,000 square feet, you would agree that the majority, so I think I counted 8 out of 13 leases would be below the range that you have on your small CRU spaces on page 15, is that correct?
Yes. But it's not everyone, it's below. You can see when you go to the page number 2, even hot cups, New Dynasty jewelry, they pay $51. It's a range.
Mhm.
Because we use the model driven, it's really hard to do the model to pick the big numbers, then it comes in the very close numbers. It's around, I know it's around 28, 30, and it's a kind of economy, the scale play the game there. If it's tiny bit of number vary, but it's not the huge number.
But you would agree the majority of the rents that are under, the spaces that are under 1,000 square feet all have leasing that would be below what was provided in your table, and I think you would kind of apply that here.
Yeah.
Okay, and again, if we take a look at this, you'd agree that for recent leasing, so this would on pages 2 and 3, so this would be leasing coming from 2021, 22, that with the exception of A&W, that all the leasing coming over the last couple of years would be underneath $45 a square foot. Or below what the lease comparables you had provided were.
Okay, you are comparing my lease comparables?
Yeah, so if we cross-reference the information on pages
Okay,
2 and
sure.
3 with the lease comparables you provided on page 15. If we take a look at the last couple of years from 20, 21, 22, you would agree with that, with the exception of A&W, that all of those leases would be below that range, is that correct?
You are talking about page number 15?
Yeah, page 15, the small CRU size units.
page 15, all the small CRU
Yeah.
cases, average is $57. And which one? I'm very confused.
Oh, sorry, let me clarify, okay. So let's go back a minute, so if we take a look, so let's take a look at page 15.
Okay,
So if we take a look at page 15 and we take a look at the small CRU size units, and if we look at that, you would agree that those small CRU size units that you provided, the rents range from $45 to $105, is that correct? Or just small small size CRU
yes,
units?
$45, 105.
So 105,
Yeah,
okay.
of course, sorry.
And then if we cross-reference that with pages 2 and 3 of your brief,
Yeah.
yes, please.
Okay.
And if we take a look at the leasing on page 2 and 3, and we take a look at the last couple of years, so 20, 21, 22, and we compare that, you would agree that all of the leasing that has occurred over the last couple of years in Grant Park, with the exception of A&W, is all taking place at less than $45 a square foot.
Okay, I need to talk about a little bit of something.
Mhm.
Grand Park, the Tender Toys. Signed in 2021, the first line, $28.53.
Mhm.
And those are the kind of local business operation.
Mhm.
The Grand Park has some local business operation. They actually they pay lower rental rates. So yes, you are question to your answer, yes, but you need to consider about what type of tenants.
Sure.
Yeah.
So just, I guess, working on that a little bit, you would agree that Grant Park is characterized by what would be more considered as local tenants versus national tenants, would that be a correct characterization?
Combination, but as you know, about all of the malls has a portion for the local tenants.
Mhm.
They pay lower rental rates.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
We cannot cater when we do the mass appraisal, we cannot cater specifically for them.
that's fair. But you would agree that, but again, if we're
Yes.
taking a look at leasing within Grant Park, if we're looking at leasing within the last couple of years, 2021, 22, you would agree that the majority of that leasing, again, with the exception of A&W, is all coming in at less than that $45 a square foot.
I agree, but it's not a majority. It's some tenants, it's a vague range.
Well, I'm just saying,
Because this is, I want to tell you, this page number 2 and 3 is not the reflection of entire rental roll. Because only some tenants are there. If you want to talk about entire rental roll, we have to go to the rent roll page. This is just the reflection only.
okay. But again, just looking at your information on pages 2 and 3, as I'm looking through this, for example, starting at page 2, I see Magic Cuts, that was signed in 22 at $33 a square foot. I see Hot Cups that was signed in April 1st, 2023 at $34.88. I see Berry Epic signed March 1st, 2022 at $35. I see the property at Pettoba signed June 1st, 2022 at $31.41. Moving on to the next page. Trendy Tots, this is signed 2021. I see that $28.53.
Sorry, what's the question?
Sorry, I'm just trying to establish the fact that leasing over the last couple of years, leasing from over the last few years has all been occurring at rates that are less than that $45, as indicated on page 15.
Hey, but, sorry,
You bet.
the page 15 information that she's provided shows a range of rents from different properties through the city, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And so you're pointing at that and saying her comps are,
So what we're doing is we're looking.
or her assessments, sorry, because it's what she used on page 2 and 3, correct?
So the page 2 and 3 are the leasing from the property.
That's the leasing numbers.
These are correct. This is the leasing from the property, is my understanding.
And just give me a moment.
You
I
bet.
want to make sure I get this
Certainly.
straight in my mind because.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so these are the leases.
These are the leases. So this is
Fair
the
enough.
actual performance of the property. So what I'm looking to establish is that over the last couple of years, how has the property been performing, or what has recent leasing been in each of these categories? So we can see how the property is performing compared to the comparables that were brought forward by the city of Winnipeg on page 15.
Go ahead.
So, and so really that's, I'm trying to stipulate over the last, from 2021, 22, if we take a look at that recent leasing, you would agree that with the exception of A&W, it's all taking place at less than $45 a square foot, which is kind of below the bottom end of the range of the small size CRU units that we saw provided on page 15.
Yeah, can I add one little thing for that question? But you are when I do the presentation, I just mentioned those rent comparables are showing for the in other regional shopping centers. Grand Park Shopping Center, we don't use any of those ones. Our rental rates actually $29 something average. All the rental rates you are talking about higher than actually what we use for the valuation of the Grand Park Shopping Center. All the model rental rates are actually lower than what you are mentioning right now. But the page number 15 is the sample of the market rents used for the Winnipeg. But we are not in the market level of rents. We don't use the market level of rents for value the Grand Park Shopping Center. We use the lower rents. Our model driven rents are, all of them are lower than market trends in Winnipeg.
Okay. So then I guess my question on that is, and again, we'll keep it specific to the small size CRU units. So for the small size CRU units on page 15, what's the purpose then of the rents that you provided? So I see that you provided those rents from 45 to 105. What were you wanting to get across with that information?
Okay, because every time when we do this valuation, we need to show what's the market condition of the city of Winnipeg, the regional shopping centers. When I do the presentation, I very clearly tell I only put the regional shopping center rental rates. Those are the rental rates in the regional shopping center. But the Grand Park is not in the level of the Polo Park. We are not charged using the grand rental rates we use for the Polo Park. But this is the sample of rental rates for the regional shopping centers. But page number 19 shows what we actually use to value the Grand Park Shopping Center, which all of those rental rates are so much lower than all of the sample we bring it to here. My comparables is superior than the Grand Park Shopping Center.
Okay, so just so we understand, and just so I'm clear, so on page 15, for the small CRU units, you would take the position that these are all superior to Grand Park.
Of course, that's why we use the lower rental rates.
Okay.
But
No, that's, and then if we look on page 15 for the medium-sized CRU comparables, again, these would be, just to confirm, these are units that are between 1,000 and 4,000 square feet, is that correct?
yes, that's right.
And if we take a look at this table here that you provided, these, and I take a look at the range of rents, that you would agree they range from $40 to $80 a square foot?
Yeah.
And then again, is it saying, you're staying position that these would be superior compared?
Of course, because it's a Polo Park, Outlet Mall, Sanitary Center, those are superior. We don't use that kind of higher rental rate for the Grand Park.
Okay.
We use lower rate for the Grand Park.
And then if we move to page 16. So large size CRU rent comparables, 4,000 to 10,000 square feet, is that correct?
Yes.
And you would agree again, without having to go through it, that these would be considered superior than
Yes,
what?
of course.
Carson, did you want, I'm gonna kick it over to Carson to ask some questions on the warehouse retail components.
Thank you. Ms. Taniwara, just regarding the warehouse rent comparables on page 17.
Sure.
Are these all standalone retail warehouses?
Okay. Yes, those are.
Yeah, okay, so you can confirm that none of them are part of a mall or an enclosed mall?
No, it's not the part of the mall. It's the 710 St. James, 680 St. James, 710, those are very close, but those are standalone.
And would you agree that these comparables would all be superior to Grant Park?
Okay, that's a really hard question to answer that way, because those are not within the regional shopping centers. Those are the retail warehouses throughout the city. Not everything is superior, because if we consider the Grand Park, it's in the prime location. But those are not all the superior, those are the retail warehouses categorized very. And I'm just showing the range, because you can see even $10.25 is the lowest range and $25 is the highest range. The Shoppers Drug Mart is higher. Then so it's nothing is superior or inferior, it's just the indication what kind of rental rates we use for the rental rates in Winnipeg.
And then just briefly, starting on page 69, are you not comparing assessments there? No?
69.
Yes, the inclusion of the two disclosures.
Oh, it's not a comparing of assessment. I'm just putting these ones to show the because the rent roll submitted for the two roll numbers, then we have to divide the rent roll within the two roll numbers. I need to find the indication about how we divided those ones. When I go through this exercise, the way I can tell about those ones is putting the other brief in here to see about this is the property for that rent roll. That's the only thing. I'm not comparing anything. This is a gas bar, and we don't have any gas bar in the region, Grand Park Shopping Center. This is actually evidence for support. It's the two roll numbers, how they divide the two roll numbers.
Okay.
But they submit the one income expenses mailer for the two roll numbers.
Okay, so it was not submitted for the purpose of
No,
comparing the assessments.
no, it's nothing to compare in this Grand Park Shopping Center. But I need to, because the big question sometimes when it's come to the multi-role submission, how I'm going to describe the board panel members, this roll number, this proportion for the Grand Park Shopping Center, this is the proportion for the Red River Poor. This roll number, two, when it's submitted for the two roll number. That's the only purpose I bring it this one to showing those are the two roll numbers submitted in that one income expenses.
Mr. Chairman, I think you established there's no relevance to this roll number to the subject property, and we don't need to say many more words about it.
No, we don't, and that's, I'm not understanding why we're heading down that road for a bit again. I figured I want to just hear it, but at the end of the day, nothing turns on that information that was provided for information only. And I appreciate the fact that it's all on one big mailer but it's actually two separate roll numbers, and you gentlemen are well aware of that. The department's well aware of it. Let's move on to the next issue, please.
So at the beginning of your presentation, you suggested that some of the assessments model derived and some isn't. Is that correct?
Yes,
So are the capitalization rates model derived?
no, those are tailored for reflect the market condition for the Grand Park Shopping Center.
Okay. And is there any evidence in your disclosure that supports the applied cap rates?
I don't have, because we don't have any sales for the regional shopping center here. Only page 9 showing about the regional shopping centers, city evidence, and Colliers and CBRE and Cushman Wakefield, everything in the range of the cap rates. Page 25.
25, sorry, thank you.
Those are all my questions. Thank you.
I'm just wanted to get back to a couple more questions. I apologize. I was taking over the Carson warehouse. If we can go to page 24, please.
Sure. Okay.
So on page 24, you would, just to confirm that the city has assessed total net income for the property of 6,519,672. So that would be in the summary column for the board's reference there. If we take a look down at the net operating income, you can see that value is 6,519,672. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
And then if we can keep a finger on that page, and if we can turn to page 33, please, in your brief. And if everyone's on the page 33, if we can take a look down, so that you would agree that these are the financials for Grand Park, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and this would be for the 2022 financials, correct?
yes.
And if we take a look down on income from operations, so kind of in the middle of the page there, or kind of towards the bottom.
Yeah.
So income for operations, so this would be the actual net operating income from Grand Park, is that correct?
That's what they report.
And you would agree that we are 6,177,000, so we're roughly about $400,000. The property is generating $400,000 less than what was assessed, is that correct?
That's what information tell.
If we can turn to page 50, please. And just let me know when the board's there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so on page 50, so this would be the 2021 financials for Grand Park, is that correct?
Yes.
And this would also include the gas station. I believe I'm seeing it's inclusive of both world numbers, so this would also include the gas station.
I don't see the land lease amount they reported.
But it just,
But their first page, they tell about this is for the two income.
okay, perfect. So, and you would agree that if we take a look at the income from operations, we're at 6,115,000. So again, about $400,000 less than what the assessment is that correct?
That's what they reported.
Okay. And then finally, if the board will turn with me to page 64, please. And on page 64, you would agree that this is the 2020 financials for Grand Park?
Yeah.
And if we take a look, you can see income from operations at 5,865,000 and change. Is that correct?
$2020, correct?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. So income from operations, $5,865,964.88 to be precise. If we take a look at the actuals.
Sorry,
5,000,000.
895.
Sorry, 5,865,000. I got 5,865,000.
You're reading at line,
Taking a look at 2020, I'm looking at PD for the actuals. So it should be right beside income from operations.
Yeah, I see that.
oh, sorry,
Yeah,
my apologies.
no, all good. And so you would agree that that is, so roughly about $600,000 less than what the.
That's what it shows.
So I guess. Since, over the last few years, has the property ever achieved that the net operating income of $6,519,672 is assessed by the city of Winnipeg?
That's the numbers, Jim. I don't know about these numbers 100%. And we don't know about the land lease, but it's the numbers, yes.
Okay, so you would agree that if we take a look at the performance, if we take a look at the net operating income, that for 2020, 2021, and 22, the property has never achieved the assessed 6,519,000, is that correct?
The number wise, yes.
Thank you. just to move on to the next line of questioning. So the next question is in terms of the vacancy rate. And I don't have a page to draw the board's attention to, it's just mentioned. So the property has been assessed with, I think you mentioned a vacancy rate, if I take a look at page 24. Kind of at ranging between 2 to 5%, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, for the vacancy rate, just so we're clear, is the vacancy rate only is the purpose of the vacancy rate in an assessment or an appraisal only to capture what the vacancy is at this point in time, or is it meant to capture what the expected vacancy would be over the life of the property?
It's a period of time.
But like, certainly we're looking at vacancy within the property, we're looking at vacancy within the market. But again, because we're doing evaluation and we're looking and we're valuing the cash flow and the cash stream of the property, is it just, I guess maybe let's step back a moment. For the income approach, as we're valuing the property, we're looking at the cash stream of the property over the life of the property. Is that the kind of the basis for how the income approach is done?
But we are talking about this specific time period. We focus on this specific time period.
I guess the last question is, when we're looking at regional malls, are we looking at just the vacancy for the mall for the vacancy rate, or are we looking at the broader market?
The regional shopping centers, we look at the regional shopping centers.
So it would be Grant Park, it would be Kelowna Place, it would be Polo Park, it would be, all of those would be considered when looking at the vacancy rate.
When we do the model, it's a model generated differently. It's a model driven vacancy rate. It has the other impact too. But those are considered the model driven methods.
I guess if we can stay on this page. And just to confirm, and I'm gonna shift gears a little bit again, so we're gonna talk about the capitalization rate. So on page 24, all of these buildings are all on the same parcel with the same legal address, is that correct?
Those has the same parcel and same legal address, but it has many titles.
But if this were to sell all of these, so the pad sites, the bank, the mall, the warehouse retail, they would all sell together. Would that be a fair statement?
They can divide these ones and sell if they want to.
But if we're looking at the physical characteristics of the property, as of today, are these all combined? Are they all on the same legal parcel?
It is in the one roll number.
It's all one, but it'd be all the same legal parcel, is that correct?
One roll number does not mean it has only one legal parcel, one title. It has many titles. Previous situations, if they want to divide those kind of properties, they can do, but I'm not telling what they will do. I think there are many possibilities.
But as of today, this is all one
parcel,
okay.
One whole number.
Okay. On page 25, we can turn to. And I'm getting close to the end of my questions, Mr. Chair. So on page 25, if I take a look, the city has, and I take a look at the retail capitalization rates, the city has separated out regional malls, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you had indicated there's 6 regional malls. Have any of these malls sold over the last 10 years?
No.
Okay, so if the city the city uses sales to calculate the capitalization, their capitalization.
To give you one indication, one regional shopping center sold post reference, and also I know agents Brave put that information with one of the information is incorrect. I know all the detail about that sale. I have all the legals and I searched all the titles,
But it's post
but
reference.
it's all
So
post reference.
we can't look at
Yes.
that. And
All post reference.
she's basically said, no sales to go from unless you've got something.
Well, and I'm just asking, so if
Yeah.
there's no sales and we use sales to calculate the capitalization rate. How did the city come up with a capitalization rate for regional malls?
But those are model driven capitalization rates. We use it the other factors too, because. And then how the Colliers came up with the capitalization rate and the other ones, the kind of scenario.
You have the same problem she does.
No, and that's fair. We'll certainly talk about that in our brief.
Oh, we will.
But more so, like, I just wanted to confirm. So there hasn't been any sales. So again, when we take a look at the regional malls here that have been separated out, you would agree that there's no sales to support the regional mall capitalization rate as calculated by the city of Winnipeg. Is that correct?
Okay, logically speaking, no sales to come up with the cap rate,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean we cannot use the cap rate. We have other methodology to use those, find out the cap rate.
I guess a couple of round of questions. In your experience, who's the typical buyer of regional malls? What type of purchaser is buying malls within the market? These types of malls within the market.
It's a pointless question. This property did not sell. Ask questions about what happened on this property. This property didn't sell, so what is the purpose of that question, sir? I
Just-
don't understand.
Certainly, we're just looking to establish who is typically purchasing these properties within the market. So try to understand who the purchaser is.
Okay, I can actually, this question is very interesting. My typical answer, it will by establish very informed larger buyer, but sometimes it's not happened this exact same way. Sometimes very I know the information for the some sales happen in the post reference, but very interesting. I cannot answer that question.
That's completely reasonable. And I think that leaves, that concludes my questions unless there's anyone.
No further questions on that part. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Whitbread, do you have any questions at this point of the
Quite a
assessor?
few, quite a few. I'll just follow up on that last source of questioning a little bit. If a buyer wanted to purchase one of those pieces of property on the outlying edges of the mall, could they buy that piece of property individually, unless I think there's an Applebee's or something like that, buy that restaurant and buy the land from Grant Park and ask the city to create a separate roll number? Is that possible?
Yes, possible, because it is possible, because the most of the big regional shopping centers has many titles, but and also they can make a title, they can subdivide the property anytime. I have examples to give how it's happened, which property it's happened previously. I can give some examples. Yes,
No,
it is possible.
simple answer is yes.
Okay, yes,
Now, don't oversell me here.
yes.
Good. Thank you very much. Now, you indicate this is a model-driven presentation, except for what I understand you've discussed negotiated rents. Everything else is model-driven.
Okay, no, we negotiate cap rate.
No,
We
I'm
negotiate
talking
cap
about
rate.
rents.
Okay, we negotiate rent.
Yes,
Yes, bigger rents we negotiated, smaller CRUs we don't negotiate.
so let me just deal with that for a moment, because I'll ask you about cap in a minute. So when I look at your number on page 24, $7,185,000 as your potential rent, I think what I gleaned from your presentation is that there were negotiated rents, and those were used in the calculation of this potential rent. But in reality, they should be higher based on the evidence you provided or the evidence that is out there. Is that a correct understanding? That's a
Yes,
or no?
because of the negotiation, this, if I reiterated your question, because of the negotiations, we came up with the potential net rent is 7,185,222.
Yes.
But actual will be higher, that is that.
So you've kind of undervalued the mall. Is that what I'm saying?
Yes and no, because my answer is yes and no, because some tenants pay higher rental rates, but some tenants pay smaller amount of rental rates. It's kind of balanced out somewhat. But my exercise, sometimes I feel we did not, our valuation is lower than what it should be. Yes, you are right.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it simple. And so when I go to your rent comparables, that's model driven though, isn't it? The model has provided those rent comparables?
Rent comparables?
Yes, your rent comparables provided in your documents are model driven. Is that correct?
No, those are not model driven rents. Those are reported rents.
But
I think
did
he's
you
asked.
go out and, did you go out and collect them?
Okay, which page is, okay, sorry.
Mr. Whitbread, I think she's confused on your question, sir. Could you restate it for her, please?
Okay, you provided a number of, bear with me. I can try and provide you a page. You've provided a number of comparable rents for various categories of properties, correct?
Okay, you are talking about
Just-
number
let-
15, 16?
No, let me finish. You've provided comparable rents on restaurants, banks, warehouses. Are those model-driven rents collected by the model?
Those are not model driven rents.
Where did you get them?
Oh. Okay, when we run the report, briefs, it generate the model generate the comparables, but
Thank you.
we go and pick and choose which model rental rates we should put in.
Yep, I understand that. That's common, but it is generally initiated by the model and then you can.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
thank you.
right.
You don't change the rents, you simply select which ones you want.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me move on to CAP. The only evidence I could see in your presentation, I think it was on page 25. I'm just going
Yes,
there.
that's right.
Yeah, I've got that right, don't I? Yeah, page 25. The only evidence on CAP that I see from you is your regional model showing 5.85 to 6.80. That's correct. And as you've indicated in the last couple of questions from the applicant, that is driven by the model, but you don't have any sales to compare it to.
That's right.
Confirming. Yes?
That's right.
Okay, thank you. Bear with me, this is a very complicated case, Mr. Chair, as you well know here.
I know very well how complicated these are.
Do you know what the interest rates in 2023 were? Do you have any read on the interest rates during that time?
You mean the bank interest, like bank?
Yeah,
interest?
bank interest rates.
But it's varying from bank to bank, 3.25.
But Bank of Canada. Does 4.75 sound right to you?
I cannot tell that number. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, we'll confirm with the applicants when we get to them then. Okay, thank you. I'm going to leave it right there.
Thank you very much. Ms. McFadden, I'd love to start questions for you, but I have a problem. I have a parking issue that I have to deal with, so
I can help you out, Mr. Chair. Actually, I have
Oh,
no
okay,
further
well,
questions.
Then please help me out, Maya, please.
I have no further questions for the applicant or for the assessor.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Well, that does help me considerably, but I still have the same problem. I'd like to ask a few
Right.
questions. But in the meanwhile, I think I need to deal with my parking problem because
Okay.
apparently it's a problem. All
How
right.
about a 5-minute break, sir?
Might be a bit longer than 5 minutes.
10 minutes would be great.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the patience on everyone's behalf. Ms. Tenmora, I have some questions, and maybe I need to clarify first, and then maybe it'll be just a few questions. So, I believe Mr. Whitbread tried to characterize this, and I just want to make sure that I get it clear from you. The smaller tenancies were driven by the model, correct?
It's,
For the rents that were used in the valuation.
that's right.
And the larger units, those were negotiated with the previous agent that was involved for the 2025.
Not all of those ones, but majority.
The majority, okay, so that we understand. Now, one in particular, I think that you had brought to our attention was Canadian Tire. It is currently assessed at $12 a square foot, but their contract is actually $6. Now, you talked about that being part of the fact that that was the Target store rents that were put on it. So I'm assuming Target signed a long-term lease there, I'm assuming?
I think it's that when the Target called bankruptcy, they somehow, it's in between parties, Target convert a lease out to the Canadian Tire, and I don't know much detail about those ones. I only know about the motivated lease, because somehow Target wants to give it to someone for $6.75.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Okay, but at the end of the day, you're assessing at $12 a square foot,
That's right.
correct?
And also not appeal for the BA for the.
And also not appealed, okay. I think you made that fairly clear. As far as the vacancies that were used, the vacancy percentages across the board, model driven, correct?
That's right.
And the shortfalls also model driven?
That's right.
And ultimately, cap rate was model driven, or was that massaged?
Adjusted.
Okay, so there was some tweaking to the percentages used for the cap rate,
Yes.
okay. Okay, and who was the agent on record for the previous?
Ron Slaughter.
Mr. Slaughter, okay. Those are my questions, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, gentlemen.
But before we begin, we need to make the board aware that we have prepared a rebuttal.
Okay, awesome, we will get to that at the appropriate time, thank you. But in the meanwhile, let's have your presentation.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of housekeeping issues before we jump in. If we can all confirm that our submission is 125 pages.
Yes.
This should be in the bottom right hand.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Next piece, as I'm going through and just to help out as I'm presenting, typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the PDF page number, and for Marina, it's the page number in the bottom right hand corner. They should correspond. So I'm going to give that page number, and what I'll probably do is just give a minute for everyone to get to that page. Mr. Chair, if you'd be kind enough just to kind of give me a nod or wink and guns if you get to that point. I don't care. Just so I know before I move on, I don't want to be leaving people behind.
All good.
The last piece, as I'm going through, is in the past, I have been told I am a bit of a quick talker. If I am going too quickly, I am going to try to slow down, but please let me know. Do not hesitate to throw up a hand, call me out. Happy to slow down.
Okay.
Excellent. Board, if the board will start with me on page 3. I'm not going to go through this exhaustively. I think that, the assessment department has done a great job in providing some of this information. So we'll just go, hit it on the high points and then we'll move on. So on page 3, we just have a brief property description. This is the Grant Park Shopping Center. I'm sure that everyone has been there at some point in time or knows, has had some sort of experience with it. The property is, as the city of Winnipeg has indicated, has a leasable area of about 405,000 square feet. The property is comprised of a couple different components. So it's an anchor tenant and mall with the Red River Co-op Shopping Center, a Canadian Tire, as well as a Good Life Fitness. In there, there's also the Winners, and then we have the movie theater. The mall comprises of 70 shops and services. Tenant profile tends to favor more local businesses. There's certainly some national businesses there, but we can see that there tends to be a little bit more of the local business feel to it, as well as the Landmark Cinemas, the Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries building, or the MLCC, the Shoppers Drug Mart, Winners, and McNally Robinson Bookstore. As well as mentioned, there's 4 pad restaurants and a credit union on that site. According to the owner and talking to them, there's actually no further pad opportunity for pad development for the mall. So we are maxed out. So the assessment, as mentioned, the value that is under appeal today is $98,260,000. Now, M&P has a value of a requested value of $84,238,000 on this. Now, one thing I would like to mention, just before we get in, is I did note that we did use make an error on the applied rents for some of the vacant spaces. So that actually the value, and I'll take the board through that calculation, that value actually increases slightly based on that adjustment that requested. So we would be requesting a value, just bear with me one moment here. That adjusted value request would be $84,781,000. So $84,781,000. And I'll just draw them. And once we get there, I'll just kind of explain where that difference comes from. If the board will share with me when ready to page 4. So here we have an executive summary. So just kind of going over the areas that we'll be discussing. So as indicated by the assessor, we'll be discussing a couple different components. So the first, we'll be discussing the rental rates which have been applied to the property and what that impact is on the net operating income. We'll also be discussing the operating costs that have been applied in a couple situations. And then finally, the capitalization rate. We'll be discussing that as well. So we'll go through each one of those in more detail as we move through the submission, but just for the board's knowledge of kind of where we're going with this overall conversation, so you can kind of get a sense of what we're talking about. And I will try to group these issues together. So we'll talk about rent, and so we try to make the most sense and smooth out as possible. So page 5. I'm not going to go through, it just discusses the approaches to value. Page 6 discusses assumptions of limiting conditions. Again, we won't go through that with any exhaustive approach there. Page 7, we just talk about relevant legislation, case law. So again, I think we're all very aware of how that all works. So unless there's a particular desire for me to go through that, I'm not going to go through that page. It's there for the board's reference if you want. In terms of some relevant considerations under both legislation and case law, but we will keep on moving unless there's something the board would like to discuss there. If the board will now flip with me, if we can flip to page 11, please. And just let me know when you're there. Yep, excellent. So page 11, we have the current assessment. So this is information collected from the City of Winnipeg website. As you can see, 1080 Grant Avenue, we have the roll number there. The property use code is a regional shopping center. Again, no surprise as indicated. And we have the assessed value of $98,260,000. If we can turn to page 12. So starting on page 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, we have provided the information from the assessment department for each of the income streams for the property. So on page 12, you can find the retail warehouse income stream. You can see the fact that this on page 12 has been assessed with a capitalization rate of 6.6%. And you can see that the various rents that have been applied, as well as the areas for the retail warehouses. So these tend to be these, as indicated by the assessment department, are more the anchor tenants in the mall. Page 13 and 14 is the income stream 2. So this is from the regional shopping center. So this is from the mall itself. So all the various CRU units within the mall. So that would involve that would also include the kiosk units. You can see that information runs from page 13 and 14. And on page 14, you can see that this has been assessed with a 6.75% capitalization rate. The board will turn with me to page 15.
Just,
Oh, you bet.
bear with me while I just.
Oh, certainly. I can do, I'll just give it stuff for a moment
Just
here.
just give me a moment.
Not a problem.
And you'll point to where you had the revision come from.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Page 15, again, this is just the city's information or the assessment department's information right now. So this is income stream 3. This is for the rest of the pad site restaurants. So as mentioned, there are 4 pad site restaurants on the site. You can see the valuation there, and you can see that a 6.75% capitalization rate has been used. We have the rents and we have the leasable area. And then finally, if the board turns with me to page 16, we have income stream 4. So this is the bank, this is the credit union on the site. This is the pad credit union on the site as indicated by the assessment department. Here you can see the rents that's been applied. And you can see, so $37.23. And you can see the overall capitalization rate, which has been applied at 6.25%.
Okay. Where was the investment?
If the board will turn with me to page 17. So page 17, we have our valuation. So this is where I will let the board know. So on page 17, we have the valuation for the regional mall. So this is based on our calculations. So this is kind of jumping to the end, and then I'll go through and explain where we got our numbers from. So the one thing that is changing is under the mall. So you can see the income summary. You have total retail warehouse, mall, pad restaurant, and bank, pad bank. Under the mall, you can see the potential income we have is $2,240,835. That should be adjusted to $2,282,135.
135.
That's correct. That would result in an updated net operating income. If you take a look down of 1 million, and I'll give you the old net operating income and I'll give you the new one. The old net operating income was $1,951,041. The new net operating income will be $1,989,099. And the reason for this is we did notice that there was a slight error on the rental rates that we were applying to some of the smaller units. And this is just a correction of that error. And again, as I go through that, I'll highlight that difference to the board and just explain where that comes from.
And the number that you achieved using the NOI of 1,989,099 gives you how much?
Oh,
sir?
so using the 7% cap, that results in for the mall component, just the mall component results in an adjustment of the mall component to $28,415,000. And if we work across the bottom, that will adjust the total income for the site, or that will adjust the total market rent or market value for that site to $84,781,000 as indicated. Did you want any other? Did that make sense?
No, just give me a moment here. Just having a moment here, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding what I'm looking at.
You bet.
Okay, so you did retail warehouse on page 12. You came up with a value of $54,782,000, correct?
Oh, so sorry, just
Let's be because
let's be very clear on this. So if the board can turn with me to page 12, and hopefully this will help clarify.
that'll help.
You bet. So page 12 Page 12, this is from the city's evidence. This is the assessor's brief. This isn't our number. These aren't,
Okay.
yeah. So far what I've done is page 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. These are all the information from the assessment department.
Okay.
Supporting their assessment. Our information on page 17, we're kind of starting from the end, working our way through. So page 17 is the first time we're looking at our valuation.
Fair enough.
And so hopefully that makes a little more sense.
That helps immensely.
Yeah, so sorry, I
I'm
should
the-
apologize, Mr. Chair. I apologize for not being more clear.
No, it's okay. We're
Yeah.
good. We're moving forward.
Mr. Chair.
Just a quick question, please. Could you just
Sorry.
repeat the new total, please? I didn't catch all of
You
the new
bet.
total.
So the new requested value is 84,781,000.
781,000. Thank you.
All right, so that is made up of the numbers that are shown
That's correct.
on page 17,
Seven.
with the exception of the mall number, which was increased to 28,415,000. Is that
That's
correct?
correct, yeah.
And there was no other changes to the
No.
others. Okay.
So now we're gonna start going through and I'm gonna start explaining where we got that information from and how we came up with that valuation.
So just give me a moment or two.
You bet.
All right, trying to keep it all straight, so when I look at this
No,
later. I can
absolutely.
understand what I'm
Totally,
looking at.
totally understand. There's a lot of material to cover. I understand.
Yes, there is lots of material. Okay, so I think we're all on the same page now, so I'm good. Thank you.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
Excellent. So the board will turn with me starting on page 18. So this is just some general information about the property. So we have the location that we're all aware of. We have some aerial view pictures on page 18, 19, 20 of Grant Park. If the board will turn with me to page 21, we have some external pictures starting on page 21, moving to page 22, and 23, as well as 24, 25, and 26. Good. Provide a lot of pictures. So the board can see we have a number of pictures there. For the board's reference, both Carson and I were at this mall. You can find, if the board will turn with me to flip with me a little bit to page 54, please. So Carson and I were at the mall, I believe it was January of 25. We were both through there and we have, so starting on page 54, we have some interior pictures of the mall. So this is the front entrance over by the Winners. And then we have pages, if we continue on page 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. This is McNally Robinson on page 59. And then as well as another interior shot of the mall. 60. Bottom of page 60 is the Landmark Cinemas. 61, we're heading towards Canadian Tire. You can see on the far side there that Canadian Tire indicated. 6, as well as another store, Very Epic. So this is a local retailer. They were not open when we were there. Continuing on to page 62, some more main floor spaces. Bottom of page 62, this is Enigma Escape Room. Actually, they only have demand, so they were not open when we were there. We moved to page 63. As indicated and as mentioned during questions, there's actually a second floor to this mall. So starting on page 63, we have some of the second floor spaces. This is accessible through kind of it's a bit of a corridor. I'm just trying to remember exactly where it is on the mall. You go through with a freight elevator, and this is what the second floor looks like. So a bit of a lower clear wall height. And we have those pictures on page 63, 64, 65, kind of the quarter there, you can almost see the mezzanine space. So this is over by the Canadian Tire. And the bottom of page 65. So there are all of this space is more occupied by more office tenanted types of buildings. It's a little less accessible than what we would see for the main floor space. And we will certainly be talking about what the impact that has for rental rates for this space. If the board will flip back with me, and if we can flip to page 27, please. And just let me know when you're there. Excellent. So starting at page 27, we have an evaluation. So as indicated by the assessment department, they've used the income approach to value the property, which makes sense. As we're taking a look at that's typically how you look at these revenue generating properties, particularly things like a regional mall. When doing the income approach, the key considerations are the rental revenue, the vacancy rate, shortfall rate, non-recoverable expenses, and the capitalization rate. So as everyone knows, over the past few years, Grant Park Mall has undergone a number of significant changes. It was originally anchored by Zellers, which later turned into Target. When Target left the mall in 2014, they had to figure out what to do with that space. So that would be the former Zeller space. What ended up happening is they ended up subdividing and repurposing that space into a Good Life Fitness and a Canadian Tire. So that was basically a retread of that old Zeller space. As well, when we take a look at the mall, it's occupied by 6 major tenants, as indicated. And then there's just a little over 21,000 square feet of second floor space, in addition to the rest of the mall. So we can see that there is actually, a reasonable amount of set space on that second floor. If the board will turn with me to page 28. So what we've done is we've taken a look at the mall valuation. So we've taken a look at leasing within the mall to see how the mall is performing. And then what we've done is for either vacant spaces or spaces paying a % rent or a gross rent, we've had to come to a determination of what rental rate should we apply. One of the challenges, and I'm sure the board's aware, when you have a gross rent, that basically means that the rate that the landlord is getting covers all operation costs. So those aren't considered separately. And then when it comes to % rent, what that means is that the landlord is taking a percentage of sales. So typically in a % rent, they have various marks and saying, okay, if you hit this percentage of sales, if this amount of sales, if that come with valuation, rents or gross rents is the fact that they are difficult to calculate what the correct net effective rent would be. So what we've done in those situations for vacant space, gross rents, and % rents, we've used a assumed rental rate. So how have we come across that? Taking a look at recent leasing that have been signed within the mall. So this is recent leasing signed from 2021 to 2023, just before the valuation date. And what we can see is we can see that there are a number of leases there, and we just took a look at what the average rental rate they're paying is. Now, one thing I will note for the board, we did combine all sizes of CRU spaces, so small and medium CRU spaces. Honestly, when we were taking a look at that, we did see that there was a bit of a range, but there wasn't enough to really make a determination. So we felt if we're using a rate of $29 to account for that, that makes the most sense. Additionally, when we take a look at the second floor space, so again, as mentioned, there's 21,000 square feet of second floor space within the building. We did see that these spaces are leasing at lower rents. The reason being is the second floor space just doesn't have the same access as what we'd be looking at for other spaces. So we felt it was appropriate to take a look and use a separate rental rate for those spaces. We looked at the most recent lease signed leases from 21 and 22, and we can see that as we take a look at the 5 leases, they range from $15 to $21.50, and we're getting an average of $17.60. As a result, for any vacant space on the second floor or the space occupied by Primaris, because Primaris has an office there, that's not necessarily a market rent. So we've used that $17.50. A rate of $17.50 to kind of stabilize, to make sure we're looking at this correctly. The last component is Landmark Cinema. The board charts will be to page 19. As mentioned, Landmark Cinema is in the property. They did,
Page 20.
oh, sorry, page 29. I apologize. Page 29. My apologies there to the board. So Landmark Cinema was in the building, is in the building. You know, as indicated that they were paying $13. However, one of the things that happened was that the landlord provided a tenant inducement of $1 million to be paid back interest-free over a period of time. So what we did is we took a look at what the commercial lending rate was at the time of the lease and tried to determine what the impact this was going to have on that effective rent. Because again, they are effectively getting a value there. So after we worked through all that math to determine what the value of that rent of that $3 million was, as they were paying it back, we ended up getting a rate of 50 cents. So when we came to our calculation, we used a $13 rental rate and made an adjustment of $12.50 to get an adjusted rental rate of $12.50 for the Landmark Cinema in our calculations. Now, if the board will turn with me to page 30, we can get, so that's all the preamble of how we came up with our parameters. So starting at page 30, what we've done is we've provided a list, a comparison of what the actual rents were compared to what the assessed rents were for each one of the spaces that we looked at. So the first spaces we have are for the retail warehouse. As mentioned by the assessment department, the retail warehouse includes Good Life Fitness, McNally Robinson, Canadian Tire, Shoppers Drug Mart, Landmark Cinema, Winners, MLCC, and Red River Co-op. So what we can see on the first column, if the board notices there, is you'll see the assessed rents. So these are the rents that have been assessed by the city of Winnipeg based on their parameters. So you can see that, for example, Good Life Fitness, the assessment department had indicated that they had been assessed for the rent of $14.80. You can see that McNally Robinson, they've been assessed with a rate of $15.36. Canadian Tire assessed at a rate of $12, and so on and so forth. So that's the first column that we see there, assessed, and then the assessed rent per year. If we look at the column beside it, we see the net contracted rent. So this is the actual rent they're achieving for the property. So we just said, okay, let's take a look at the actual rents they're achieving. You can see Good Life Fitness, we've used that contract rent of $15.10. You can see McNally Robinson, we've used a contract rent of $17. You can see Canadian Tire, we've used that contract rent of $6.75. Shoppers Drug Mart, same idea, as we go through. The only one that was a little different was the Landmark Cinema. As mentioned, we made an adjustment for the basically the loan-free or the interest-free loan that they had received. So after we calculate all of the contract rents for each one of these spaces, we get a contract rent rate per year of $3,618,474. So you can see that we're a little bit below what the actual assessed rent is for the building. Now, part of the reason certainly is the Canadian Tire. You can also see that McNally Robinson, that there was a second component to McNally Robinson, and they're only paying the rent on the main piece. So what we had done is we just simply said, what are the assessed rents? What are the actual contracted rents in place? Let's draw a comparison for those two side by side, and let's see how they differ. So we can actually see that the actual contracted rents are generating about $300,000 less than what has been assessed. Then the next one is if we move on the bottom of page 30, we've done a similar exercise for the mall itself. So as you can see in the mall itself, we've taken a look at all the various units within the mall. So these are the CRU spaces, and we've done a similar exercise. If you take a look at the first column, these are the assessed rents for the space. And then we have the contract rents, and then for those spaces. So the way this is lined up, column 1 is the unit, column 2 is the tenant, column 3 is the area, column 4 is the assessed rent, column 5 is the annual rent, so that is the assessed rent times the area. Column 5 is the contract rent, and then column 6 is the annual contract rent. Now, as you go through here, you can see the fact that we've got H&R Block. That's been assessed with a rent of $30. H&R Block is actually achieving a rent of $19. OPA we can see they've been assessed with a rent of $31. They're actually achieving a rent of $41. The Entertainment Exchange assessed at a rent of $31. They're achieving a rent of $29. So we've gone through and we've done this piece by piece. Now, a couple points to draw your attention to. So you can see vacant space, unit 1250. There's a vacant space there assessed with a rent of $30. We have taken that, we have used a rate of $29, and that's the reason. So it says 24 there, but the reason being is that we had realized that was a mistake. So we corrected that and put 29. That's why I had given the correction to the board earlier on of where that came
So
from.
that's the specific
That's
property.
a specific.
Unit that.
Exactly. So instead of 24, it should be 29, and that was the reason why we made that adjustment there for the board's reference. The same thing for Lorenza Fashion. Lorenza Fashion is actually paying a percentage rent. So the city has assessed Lorenza Fashion at $30. We have used a rate of 29. It says 24 there, but we've adjusted that to 29. So that was a mistake. It should read $29 for that. Again, because it's a percent rent and because that varies, we felt that it would be more appropriate to use what typically seen in the property would be when valuing that. Hot cups, similar situation. That's rent. Oh, sorry, I'll just give a second here.
You know, go ahead.
So 1270 hot cups. Again, this has been assessed with a rent of $32. This should we used 24 here in the table, but that should be 29. And again, that was the basis for that adjustment. Again, the reason we did that is this is a gross lease signed at $34.88. So again, being it's that that's a gross lease, we could have adjusted that to account for operating costs, but we do find that is a little challenging. So that's why we've used a rate of $29. And then if we go down, we can see unit 1440 Enigma Escapes. You can see that that's been assessed with a rent of $28. Again, we've used 24 here, but it should read 29. That's why we provided that adjustment.
So the ones in yellow are the ones that you made changes to.
Exactly.
And all to $29.
So all to $29 on these ones. Exactly. So that would also include Suite 1500, which was a vacant space. Again, the city's at 29, we'd be using 29. 1520, city's at 30, we'd be using $29 for that space. And then 1540, the city's at 30 and we were using 29. And Petoa is actually a gross lease, as I indicated on the note side there. You can see that this is a gross lease signed at $31.41. So again, we felt that a rate of $29 would probably be a little bit more representative of the market. If the board will turn with me to page 31. Page 31, again, we have the same, this is just a continuation on, there are a lot of tenants within the building. Same idea, same logic, the assessed rents, the contract rent, and as we look, and the highlighted ones are where the difference is. So you can see Primaris. So if you take a look for the board's reference, as we start moving down, you'll notice that 1600M, 1660M, 1680M, all the ones with the M behind it, these are all the second floor space, exactly. And one thing you'll note as you take a look at the assessed rents, you can see that these assessed rents here, range from, kind of the $19 to the $30 a square foot. And when we take a look at the actuals, these properties, these spaces on the second floor, as you would expect, aren't generating the same rent. And we can see that these are a little bit lower. One note for the board, 1980M Primaris, we use that $17.50 for the second floor rent that we had indicated earlier on. As you recall, that we had provided on page 28, just because that is the second floor space. So we've used the $17.50. And then the same thing for the vacant space at $17.50. Trendy Tots, Northern Reflections, Jerry's Day Spa are all these ones we did get at the $29. So these ones were all right. So there was no adjustment needed. Trendy Tots is a gross lease. They signed a gross lease at $28.50. So again, we're using a net rent of $29 for that space. Northern Reflections is a percentage rent. So we've used $29 to account for that, which is actually fairly close to what the city's used. The vacant space at $34.60, the city's got a rate of $39. This used to be, I believe, the Tim Hortons space. They vacated before July or before April 1st. So again, this is a vacant space at $29. And then Jerry's Hair Salon and Day Spa. The city's used a rate of $26.17. This is a percentage rent, so we use $29. And then finally, when we take a look at the lottery ticket center, this is 77 square feet. The city's used a rate of, this is a gross lease at $210. We've used a rate of $180 for those kiosk spaces.
Excuse me, Mr.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we can all read. I think, could we move on to the bigger picture here now?
Yeah, please.
Certainly.
We've
So-
got a hell of a lot of detail here, so
Yeah, I just,
we're good.
I wasn't really sure where he was going with it.
Yeah.
Okay, but go ahead.
Do that. So really what I want to do is so the whole purpose of this is if we take a look on the bottom, we can see the city has this space assessed with a rent of $2,480,000. We are $2,240,000. So again, this is we just want to try to establish to the board where that difference is. When we take into consideration those adjustments, that would actually add an extra $41,300 to that. So that's where we get our revised value that we had provided to the board earlier on, or the potential income for that space. So that would change that number to the $2,282,135. So that's just for the board's reference there.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so that's where that cash flow potential income comes from. The board will turn with me. So starting on page 34. So that's primary. So for the mall itself, that's the issue. You know, what we've done is we've taken a look. How is the mall performing? How has it been assessed? And if we take a look at the actual performance, does that line up with the assessment from the city? When we take a look at the non-recoverables, if we take a look at, if the board will turn with me to page 32. So based on the leases in place, that's where M&P has calculated the potential income for that space. So we've calculated the potential income for the entire mall. When we take a look at the vacancy rate, the tenants, main anchor tenants have been assessed with a 4%. The mall itself has been assessed with a vacancy rate of 5%. Again, considering the nature of the mall and considering the overall vacancies, this does seem reasonable to us, so we're not contesting that. Then when we take a look at the shortfall, so the city of Winnipeg has assessed the anchor and the large tenants with a shortfall of $6.50, as well as the rest of the CRU tenants in the mall with a shortfall of $16.50. So what we've done is we've taken a look at this. On page 32, what we've done is we've taken a look at the anchor tenants and we've taken a look at the rent roll. So CAM is common area management costs. So this would just be the general cost of running the space. Then we have tax, so this is the property taxes and other tax. And we've used this to calculate what is the actual occupancy cost of these types of spaces within the mall. The city of Winnipeg has used a rent of $6.50. We're calculating the average occupancy cost for these to be $12.95. So it's our opinion that a rate of $12.50 would be more appropriate to use for the shortfall rate for the anchor tenants. And if the board turns with me to page 33.
Okay, you said 50?
33, please.
Oh, sorry, 33.
No problem.
My apologies. Go ahead.
So we've done a similar exercise with the CRU tenants within the mall. Again, we've taken a look at what the rents of these tenants are getting. What the operating costs that these tenants are incurring. We can see that these operating costs range from $9.88 to $54.22. And then we can see the second floor space is seeing operating costs between $10 and $14. So what we've done is we've said, okay, let's take a look at all of the spaces for the mall. The city's used one rate of $16.50. So we've taken a look, and it's our opinion that if we take a look at the total cost, that a blended rate of $28 would be more appropriate. So that is basically all of the expenses divided by the square footage. And that gets us to an average of $28 a square foot. So again, taking a look at the mall, it would be our opinion that the shortfall rate of $16.50 is inappropriate, and we should be closer to that $28. On page 34, we have the non-recoverables. So again, there's no argument there on the 3% non-recoverables, so we're gonna leave that. Page 34, we have the pad sites. So now we're going outside of the mall, so we're gonna speak about the pad sites. So there's as mentioned, there's 4 restaurants on the pad site. So that's been McCool's, Pony Corral, Applebee's, and McDonald's. Again, the city has indicated that has discussed the rents. So we've done a similar analysis here. We've taken a look at the actual assessed rents compared to the contract rents. And when we take a look at that, we can actually see that there is a slight difference. The actual rents are about $10,000, or maybe a little bit less than $10,000 less than what's actually there. Again, it does seem pretty reasonable. Part of the reason for that, the fact that they're similar, is the fact that the Pony Corral has a basement, and the $27 is a blended rent between the main floor and the basement space. The same thing with McDonald's, though that $32.83 is a blended rate. So again, when we take a look at the restaurants, we don't have an issue with the rental rate that's applied to the restaurants or the vacancy rate. And when we take a look at the shortfall for the restaurants, the pad sites, we also felt that was reasonable at $9. So we're not making an issue of that. Finally, if the board will turn with me to page 35, this is the credit union. So this is the last component, the last income stream for them all. So the credit union has been assessed with a rate of $37.23. When we take a look at leasing from similar credit unions, so we do recognize it's a little bit newer. So we took a look at newer credit unions within the area. You can see that we've taken a look at 5 of those credit unions with years of construction between 1996 and 2007. When we take a look at the areas and the rental rates of those, we can see the rental rates range from $23 to a high of $36.70. And when we take an average, we're looking at $30.54. So again, when we take a look at this, it would be our opinion that a rental rate of $30.50 would be appropriate. So we are making an adjustment on that credit union rental rate based on leasing for similar credit unions. We take a look at the vacancy rate. So we've used that 2%, so that seems reasonable. And then we take a look at the shortfall. The shortfall has been assessed with a shortfall of $8. However, when we look at just the property taxes for that piece, it's $9.87. So just the property taxes alone, not even including any other costs, the CAM. So again, it would be our opinion that a shortfall rate of $10 would be more appropriate to apply to that space. So these basically the information here, this is how we came up with the potential income as we had indicated to the board, as well as the net operating incomes for each one of those income streams. Now, the next piece of the puzzle will be the capitalization rate. So if the board can turn with me to page 36, please. And we're all there. So on page 36, we have our discussion of the capitalization rate. So for the assessment year, for this assessment year, the assessment department has used capitalization rates ranging from 6.25 for the bank up to 6.75 for the mall and the pad tenants. Capitalization rates, as indicated by the city of Winnipeg, have all been generated based on sales and a model generated net operating income. And the considerations that they look at are market region, effective year built, quality, property type, lease area, tenant class, premise location, amount of parking, and site influences. However, the challenge, and this is alluded to in the assessments and when we were going through the assessor's brief, is the fact that there haven't actually been any sales of regional malls. So how do we go about trying to make a determination of what is a reasonable capitalization rate to use when we're valuing regional malls? So if the board would flip with me to page 37. So here we have a discussion of regional malls. when I was looking at it, I only had 3 regional malls, but it does sound like that there's 6 regional malls. I had Kildonan Place, Grant Park, and St. Patel. Had missed the Outlet Mall as well. I believe the assessment department had said there's 6 regional malls, including the subject property. However, again, the challenge with regional malls is that they don't frequently trade. However, what we do know is when we're looking at these properties and we're dealing with values in the hundreds of millions, 100 million plus, that is a pretty limited pool of investors that are going to be buying those properties. And that's kind of where I was going with some of the questions earlier on. These tend to be purchased by large investment groups, pension funds, and REITs who operate on a national basis. So when we're looking at these malls are owned by Primaris REIT. Primaris REIT owns shopping centers all across Canada. When we take a look at who owns some of the other malls, Polo Park is owned by Cadillac Fairview. Again, same idea, right? They own national ownership. So when they're looking at investments and when they're looking at buying malls, certainly they're looking at the market area, but they are also they're looking at how the market is going across all of Canada when making determinations on what to purchase. So what we've done on page 38, if the board will turn with me to page 38, is we've taken a look at sales over the lot from 2018 to 2022 of properties across Canada. So you can see that we've got some regional malls that are coming out of Ontario, one from BC, one from Alberta. And we've taken a look at what the actual capitalization rates for these properties are. So again, we've provided this information to the board. You can see that that these properties are selling for capitalizations ranging from 6 to 9%. And when we look at the average capitalization rate that these malls are achieving, they're 7.33%. We've also taken a look at community malls. And what we see is that there's actually a difference between community malls and regional shopping centers. So the only reason we provided the community malls is just to show there's a difference there. But what we can see is the fact that regional shopping centers on a national basis prior to the valuation date were selling for capitalization rates between 6 and 9% with an average of 7.33%. Additionally, if we turn to page 39, so on page 39, we have some more specific information. So this would be a Manitoba survey conducted by Altus Insight. And how this was done, and this was kind of mentioned, is that Altus Insight contacts market participants to collect information about capitalization rates in local markets. So they basically reach out to people who participate in the market with a survey saying, okay, if you were to buy a property, and these are major investors in Manitoba, a regional mall, what capitalization rate would you need? And what we can see when we take a look at this is that for Manitoba, for Q2 of 2022, it was indicated that they would be looking at a capitalization rate of 7.1, and for Q4 2022, they'd be looking at a capitalization rate of 7.4%. So we can actually see that market participants are suggesting that to buy a regional mall in Manitoba, they'd be looking at a capitalization rate of about 7.4%. And we can actually see if we take a look that had been increasing slightly from 2020 onward. Additionally, when we take a look at JLL, again, JLL is looking at on a national basis. So this would be what are regional shopping centers in major urban centers. So they're looking at all markets. So this isn't specific to Manitoba, but what they found when they take a look is that from 2018 to 2022, that the expectation of capitalization rates have been increasing. So we can actually see that investors are needing a higher return for regional malls. You can take a look just for the board's reference. The far right is 2018. That's the white box, and then you see the lighter gray box, the darker gray box, the black box, and the red box. And really what we're looking at is the trend over time. And we can see over time, investors are looking for a higher rate of return, and that required rate of return has been increasing for regional malls. And again, I will stipulate this is not specific to Manitoba, but this is rather on a more global basis. Other factor that needs to be considered if we turn to page 40 is the tenancy mix. As indicated, Grant Park tends to cater a little more to local tenants. Of the 70 tenants that occupy the space, roughly about half are local in nature. While local tenants can provide unique offerings, they tend to be less financially stable. And when we take a look at the leases that they're paying, and we provided a number of them here, we can see that there are a number of instances where these local tenants are paying either percent rent or a gross lease. So this represents about 14,000 square feet of space on the main floor. And when we take a look at that, we can see that of these, and what we got 8 tenants here, of these 8 tenants, that these are all either percent rent or gross rent. And then when we take a look, we can see that 25% of the space, so just a little over 21,000 square feet or 19,000 square feet, is occupied by second floor tenants. And when we take a look at the rents of those second floor tenants, we can see that those are lower. So I think that's also an important consideration when we're looking in determining a capitalization rate for the property. So we know that it tends to have a number of local tenants, and we know that there's a lot of second floor office space in the building, which would have an impact on the risk of anyone who's buying the property. So that would certainly be a factor or a consideration that would go into the capitalization rate, particularly when you have less stable local tenants, you have more tenants on percent rent, you have more tenants on a gross rent. It would have a bit more of an impact on the risks associated with that property, and anyone who would be buying it would be considering that. The last consideration, if the board will turn with me to page 41, is the separate capitalization rates. So the city has used 3 different capitalization rates for this property, between 6.25 and 6.75. It's worth noting that they've used 6.75 for the mall, but then for the large tenants within the mall, they've used a rental rate of 6.6%. So again, even within the same structure, we're seeing that there's that they're using different capitalization rates. It would be our position that because this asset, as we look at it today, would sell as one, we should just be using one capitalization rate to value the asset. It doesn't make sense to value it differently. It would be our position that the market would consider it as a single asset and be looking at it together. Lastly, Primaris is a publicly traded company, so they need to provide the properties to their they need to provide information regularly in their financial disclosures. And when we take a look at what the weighted capitalization rate Primaris is looking at for their properties, we can see, again, this is for all their properties. They're using a weighted average of 7.12% for their capitalization rate. So even when we take a look at Primaris's internal information, how are they valuing their properties? We can see that there is that range there. So overall, I guess their range is from 6.13 to 9.5%. So overall, we can see that they are putting a relatively high capitalization rate, over 7% on this. Now, the last piece, and I will stipulate, I do know this is the case, we do have a post-fact piece of information, and I do understand the board's limited and unable to look at post-fact information. However, we did feel that given the fact that there weren't any sales within the market, that it was an indicator or could be considered an indicator. So
I would disagree with you greatly.
okay.
The board's very clear on this.
Yeah.
The assessment department has their hands bound just like you, and we cannot look at anything post-reference. And that is a problem that we're not gonna bend to.
Oh.
So move on, please.
Okay. Sounds good. So if we can move to page 42. So after considering the information for how REITs and pension funds what rates of return they're looking at across Canada, when we take a look at market reports, we consider the tenancy of the building, and we consider Primaris's internal capitalization rates, it's M&P's position that a capitalization rate of 7% would be reasonable to use in the valuation of this property. So the board will turn with me to page 43. So kind of tying it all back together. So this is the same table that we had showed or had provided the board earlier on. This is now just showing the board, after we take a look at all the information, after we take a look at all of the rents and where we got that potential income from, after we take a look at where we got that operating income from and the capitalization rate, this is that end result. So again, just for the board's reference, as we had mentioned earlier, those numbers are for them all are a little different. As we indicated, I can give those numbers again to the board, but those were but we did have those on page 17.
Perfect.
But if the board wants, I can certainly.
Nope, we have it on page 17.
Okay,
We've
sounds
gone
good.
through the corrections already, so we can move on.
Excellent.
Thank you.
If the board will, with a couple more pieces of the puzzle, the board will turn with me to page 51. Page 51, we just have the floor plan, or I guess the site plan for Grand Park Shopping Center. So this just shows the mezzanine space as well as the different units within the property for the board's reference there, so you can get a sense of where everything is. Page 53, we have the map for the property. So again, this is just the site map as well, just showing the fact that they have maxed out development on this site. And that there is actually no further development they can do based on the restrictions that they have on that. So there's no further pad sites they can do. Starting on page 54, continuing on to page 65, we have all the pictures that we provided there. So we won't go through that from the board. Page 67, continuing on to page 75. This is just information. And I don't think this is in dispute, but this is just information from the Canadian Retail Real Estate Standards. So this is just the framework for shopping centers and the definitions of what a regional mall is considered, and the sizes that go into that consideration. Starting on page 77, this is just a discussion on commercial leases. So this contains the information on what a gross rent lease is, what a percent rent lease is. And again, I won't go through that unless there's specific questions, but this provides that information there for the board. This information was taken from the Sauder Fundamentals of Commercial Appraisal textbook. So again, just information there for the board's reference, or we can certainly discuss it if need be. Starting on page 87, we have the rent roll for the property. So this is the rent roll as of April 1st, 2023 for Grant Park. And this continues on to page 94. So this is where we got our information earlier on in the submission when we were looking at contract rents for those particular properties. Page 96, starting on page 96, we have the valuation of income producing properties. This is information provided by the city of Winnipeg. That continues on until page 118. And then starting on page 120, continuing on to page 124 is the information on that lease extension for the cinema, as well as the money that was spent, the $1 million, and the fact that that was basically an interest-free loan for that period of time. So just to support the rent, the $12.50 that we used in our analysis. With that, that concludes my presentation. I welcome any questions from the assessor or from the chair. Thank you, or from the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Senwara, do you have questions for
Yes,
Mr.
I
Van
do.
Bruggen?
Yes.
What?
Red 12.
Yes.
That's the without prejudice income valuation page, which is that's the one I sent it when we first starting the valuation negotiation. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Speak up a little bit,
Oh,
please.
sure.
Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. And at that time, are you aware this is the value we agreed to the property for 2025 cycle as a provision by agreement?
We did know there was agreement, however, we don't know, because we're new to the file, we weren't sure what was discussed, or where the adjustments were made, so
Thank you.
we only had the broad strokes.
page number 27. The total mezzanine area, 21,003 square feet. One time you mentioned about 20% of the proportion. That means you only consider the mall portion or the total leasable area or the mall leasable area.
I believe we just looked at the lease, I believe it was just leasable area for the mall.
Okay,
We didn't include the pad sites,
okay,
and we didn't include the bank.
okay. That which is,
Hmm.
okay, 20, okay. Because if it's the total leasable area, it's only 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we just looked at, I believe we're.
Sure. Page number 28. The tenants in the first table, our age is 29. You pick, what's the basis you pick those tenants?
The reason for those tenants were they were leases that were signed between 21 and 23. So we wanted to get the most recent leasing from the property. We understand that there is a variety of leases that were signed, but we tried to get leasing that had been signed a couple, as close to the valuation date as possible.
Okay. And the second floor rents, $17.50.
Mhm.
Those are located in the mezzanine area, and you notice that when we value, we use the lower rent for the second floor also.
I did notice that there's a variety of rents that were used for the second floor. Unfortunately, I can't speak to exactly your process,
Okay,
but when we took a look at it, we found that as we were comparing the actual the actual rents versus the assessed rents, we did notice that the actuals were all lower than what the assessed were. So what I'm not sure, again, I didn't deal with it in 25 or last year, so I can't speak to any changes, but we did feel that there was still too much value on that second floor space.
Okay, then the other question from page number 30. Question about those unit 100.
Yep.
Unit 100, annual rent is 105, is it right?
So that's a storage space and they're paying $105. So this
For
actually
the entire year, they pay $105.
105, yeah.
Okay, do you know what we don't consider those sums for elevation?
Okay.
Because we don't have storage.
Okay, but so you'll note that when you take a look at the assess, there is no assess there, but we did put the 105 and the 70. Because they are spaces within the building, so we did include them in ours when we were looking at it. So I
Okay,
guess realistically, the rent would be slightly lower by $220.
then once 146 wireless view,
Mhm.
do you know is that is a kiosk?
6 wireless.
146 wireless view, it is a kiosk
Okay.
and no annual rent used for that one.
Oh, you know what? So if you go down to page 31. It was, we did find there was a second one on there, a second kiosk at 200 square feet. So we did K007 wireless,
Okay.
200, and we used 230 on that. So we did find that there had been some spaces there where they were either 1 square foot or what have you. So
No, 1 square foot ones are very clear ones because we use ones, we have some 1
Right.
square foot ones for the bigger mall. Those are wireless wave, which both names are there, that's why I mentioned asked about.
Yeah.
Okay, you use the wireless wave kiosk in the last line,
Yeah.
K007.
That's
That is
correct.
correct. And then page number 31. 1660 M. 605 area, they only pay $970 per year.
yes, that's what as per the rental. So I believe that's storage for that space.
Okay, I will mention that this time, your rent roll is not the rent roll provided to the city of Winnipeg Assessment Board Department. that you attach in here, something totally new information. Is
So,
it, you aware about that one?
so we had asked, when we were talking to the owner, we had asked for the rent roll as of April 1st. So if you take a look at page 87. So page 87, if we take a look in the top right-hand corner, or sorry, top left-hand corner, you can see the date as 04/01/2023. So so we'd asked for the rent roll as of
Yes.
April 1st, 2023.
No, I understand that one, but the rent roll, actually, they sent it to us, it's different than these pages.
So
Yeah, it's two different, two different version, I think they might submit the one version to us, they might send to one version to you.
I think maybe the reason would be, and again, I can't say for sure, my expectation would be the fact that they probably sent the 2022 information to the city as per the request. But again, I don't know. So when we had asked for the information, they provided us with the April 1st, 2023 rent roll. When we were looking for it, and that's what information was used.
It's kind of you understand the problem here. They're sent one from 2022. You're asking for April and they're able to do it to that date. I appreciate that. But then you're not looking off the same document.
Well,
It might be worthwhile to try and agree that you're looking off
Sure.
one document as opposed to
If-
two. And there may be not very many changes, but I'm just saying that may be helpful.
I'm just actually, Mr. Chair, sorry, just looking right now, I'm taking a look at the information that's provided on page 29 of the assessor's brief.
Yeah.
And if we take a look at page 29, it looks like the rent roll is the date is April 1st, 2023 as well
Yes.
on that. So I'm
If
just,
the two pages side by side, it's totally different on you.
they're totally different.
Yes, totally different. I mean, when you request the income expenses mailer, you need to request the what they send it to us.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm just taking.
sorry.
Your one has more information than what we have.
It's more information or is it different? Is it more information or is it
We
different?
can talk about those things, but I know it looks different. It's different information.
I know the format's certainly different, but I
And
don't know if, I'm just taking a look, I don't know, I don't see a difference in the tenancies. And I don't see a difference in the rental rates as I'm
And
looking through, and I don't see a difference in like the operating
your
costs.
one has all the step up rents. My one does not have
Oh.
those information. It's a that's why I'm telling you, it's a two different documents.
But then in terms of, I guess, just in terms of clarification, and Mr. Chairman, again, I don't want to belabor the point.
No, I
Just-
just trying to.
Yeah, just in terms of just so make sure, so that there's not a difference in terms of tenancies or lease terms or rental rates.
I
Or
don't think. it was
operating
something
costs.
different.
Okay, so in terms of rental rates, tenancies, lease terms, and operating costs, it would be the same. The only difference is that.
We can
This-
conclude because so many pages there. I did not go through everything. I realized this morning, honestly, I realized, okay, this page looks different. I went through and I tried to find out what's the differences and find out that this document is different document than what primary sent it to us. That's all I can see.
Yeah.
That's all I can
So-
get.
That's something that I think between the department and the agent of record would have to put clearly together before you guys show up in front of us here. Because at the end of the day, just if it muds the waters a little bit,
For sure.
it just makes it a little bit harder. So that's my only suggestion at this point. So we can move on if we can, please.
Yes, okay. Thank you. I'm not talking anything about I do have some questions regarding page 30 about rental rates for the retail warehouse portion. Because I put in the rebuttal information, I did not mention any question about it right now.
Okay.
Is it okay?
If you have rebuttal to bring in, we'll deal with that after.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So give me 1 second. And also the same questions line, 1920 TELUS Mobility, they only paid $350 per year.
Sorry, which page?
Page number 31, sorry,
Page
page number 31,
Okay,
TELUS Mobility, unit 1920 annual rent is 350, is that right?
yeah, that's on the second floor space. That's their storage space on the second floor.
Storage for 766 TELUS Mobility,
What page again?
page 31.
31. My apologies. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Bear with me.
And you're at which line, Miss Tenwar?
1920 unit number, TELUS Mobility.
Thank you. Oh, I see. Okay. Storage.
Yeah, and sorry, just give me, I'm just 1 second here, I'm just putting. Yeah, so if the board will turn me, if you can turn with me to page 90, please.
TELUS storage.
Yeah, so if we take page 90, you can see 1920 TELUS storage, 766 square feet, and you can see they're paying annual rent of $350. Or
Is that an annual or is that
you know what?
a monthly?
I'm taking,
I can't believe that would be an annual.
no, you're right. I believe that you're right. That is monthly. Sorry, that's my mistake.
Yeah, it shows monthly at the top of the
Yeah.
column, but I mean,
No, you're right. That should be monthly. That's my mistake.
Then how about that the 1660
1660. Bear with me here.
It's monthly rent of 970.
Yeah, so that would be, so if we do 1660. So that would be, yeah, so there would be 11,640, so we'd probably be looking at an additional rent of about $20,000.
Yeah, and then that theory applied for these two units too, 100 unit 100. It's a monthly rent of $100.05. And 101 also the same. Monthly rate of $70.
So it looks like we did, so when I was looking at that, it looks like we did, I used those monthly rates, so sorry, which ones were that?
Unit 1 or 100, it's the first line.
Yeah.
It's 105 is the monthly rent.
Mhm.
And $70 again monthly rent, and those are monthly rent.
And this, yeah, so those areas were not used by the city, but yes, I agree, so if we take, so it'd be 12,000 or
Then when we
1,200.
use those ones, our final total number will be closer.
Yeah, so if we, so it'd be,
Yeah.
so we'd be both an extra, if we take a look, it'd be an extra $30,000 on that, give or take, so. But even if we take a look, even if we add an extra $30,000, we're still a couple $100,000 difference just on that piece alone.
And I will move to page number 32. Then Landmark Cinema, other rent of $7.17.
Sorry, which one?
Page,
Oh, yeah,
yes.
Mhm.
What's the effect for that, the shortfall rent? If that number skew the data, right?
Well, if we take a look, we can see that Landmark Cinema 1861 is similar, it would be kind of similar to what we'd be looking at 1633 for MLCC, 1591. So again, I agree that there are some that are higher, but there are some that are lower when we take a look, and we are using it, we use the average. So
But mathematically, do you know about if we use the outlier, it's the data skew, and we are
Sure.
going to get the
But this-
real output?
The cities use a rent of $6.50, and if we take a look at each one of those, we can see the rent is higher than $6.50. So there are three that are, 16, 15, 16, and 18, and there's one $7.66, two that are $9 in the $9 range. So using the average, that kind of smooths that out and takes account for the highs and the lows.
And actually, I will jump into your page number 42.
Mhm.
When I use your potential rent divided by leasable area for the retail warehouse, I get
Sorry, this is page 42.
page number 43, sorry. Page number 43 or conclusion page.
Mhm.
When I divided your potential income divided by leasable area for the retail warehouse, I get $12.32 per square feet. But your shortfall rate, you're asking $12.50. Is it fair?
$12.32. And we're asking for $12.50. Well, again, so when we calculated the actual rents, we've got a variety of leases that are in there. So again, I think when we take a look, you can see the Canadian Tire at $6.75. And if we take a look at how much Canadian Tire is paying in operating costs, I don't think it's unreasonable, the fact that there are gonna be some situations where the op costs are gonna be at or above, depends on the leases that were signed, so.
You agree your rental rate is lower than shortfall rent for the retail warehouse?
Again, I
shortfall
think in
rate.
some cases, that's gonna be the situation, in other cases, that won't be the situation. I think you have to, if we looked at it on an individual point by point basis, when making that determination.
Okay, I'm moving to page number 34. Again, the shortfall calculation. You use the McDonald rate. I'm talking about the McDonald's. Unit number 9040.
Okay, yeah.
You use to calculate for 4,354 times $32.83, which is the only main floor rent size by $32.83. But actually McDonald lease is 7,500 square feet. But is it mathematical? I'm seeing some kind of problem here in this calculation.
Yes, you're right, that should be 7,500 square feet. So you're right, when we took a look at it, we didn't make make an issue of the rents applied to the pad sites.
Yeah, but
We-
you use those numbers to come up with the shortfall rate. You want to adjust the shortfall rate, right?
No, so we're not adjusting the shortfall rate. We took a look at McDonald's, and if we take a look at page 34. So we felt that the rental rates applied for the pad sites were reasonable. And we felt that the shortfall rate at $9 was reasonable. We didn't make an issue of either one of those. We agreed that those both were reasonable rates to be used.
Credit union, page number 35. Do you aware all of those funds are not the standalone credit unions or banks or
So some are standalone, some aren't. So I believe 900 Har was not. And then some of those ones are. So when we were taking a look at this, we were trying to use the years of construction that were similar. So we do realize that this is a newer building. So we tried to use similar years of construction. We tried to use leasing that was within the last couple of years. So you can see we used leasing from 2019
Okay.
and 2023.
tell you about 900 Harold Street? Do you know it's a multi-tenant building?
Yes, it is a multi-tenant building. It is the credit union within that building.
Okay, and also you know about the credit union use another 3,109 square feet on second floor using the same rental rates. Their total leasable area is 9,273 times $23.
I believe there was a rent for the main floor space at 6,164 square feet, or that space, and that's what we were using as the 23. I don't believe we used that second floor space.
Okay, but when you use the half of the data, that data skew the total average rent.
So if that area was bigger, then with that rental rate, like the rental rate they're paying is still $23, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so when we took a look, we were using the average of the rental rates. So we weren't calculating what the annual rental rate was gonna be, we we're just taking a look at the average. So we had the area 6,164 square feet, with the rental rate of $23. If the size is bigger, the rental rate is still $23 a square foot.
okay. My other question, do you know about the Pemina Highway is again the multi-tenant one? Tenant,
Which one?
2799 Pemina Highway.
$27.99. Again, when we were looking at it, we were looking at your construction and trying to get something that was recently leased. So you can see that was signed in February 2023.
Okay, that's how you come up with the $30.54.
Yeah,
Why you don't give any weight for the actual rents, contract rents? You are looking for contract rents for all the other
Mhm.
units. Why not for the Cambrian credit unit?
so we could have done, I mean, it is leased at $35, so we could have done that too. So we took a look at what leasing was gonna be. So this is a pad site outside of the mall. Again, so we felt that was a little different, but we do acknowledge the fact that there is that $35.
Okay, the shortfall rent of $10. How do you come up with that number?
So they were paying property tax of $9.87 a square foot for that, and they've been assessed with a shortfall of $8. So again, looking at that $9.87 just for property tax alone, it felt that a shortfall rate of $10 would be more appropriate.
Thank you. And page number 39. Do you aware that Altus Insight surveys the opinion of the investors?
Absolutely. So as indicated, so we did indicate that there, Altus Insight collects market information from market participants on capitalization rates for local markets. Because we do understand that there haven't been any sales of regional malls. So when we were taking a look at this, we tried to collect as much information as we could, both on a national basis of how regional malls are selling, as well as a local basis to try to determine what that impact is going to be.
Do you believe that for 2026, for the assessment department, we are looking for the market value for 2026 for the Grand Park shopping centers? Those are the investors value asking capitalization rate, because those are for the advantage for the investors. Do you think is it fair to compare those two things? Because investors' point of view for the property value and the market value for the property value.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm not.
Okay, because this is the opinion from the investors, right? Does investors want to use the lower cap rate to determine the market value?
So the information on page 39
Is the
information from Altus Insight and this is
opinion.
And this is, so this is collection from market participants for we had Q4 2023, so I think you said 26, but just
Oh, sorry.
to
Yeah.
clarify, this would be Q4 2022.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Listen, yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. So
Yeah.
this is information that they're collected from market participants because we haven't seen any sales of regional malls within Winnipeg. If we take a look on page 38, we have provided transaction of regional malls.
Yeah.
And you can see the size of those buildings. They range from, kind of 355,000 square feet and up, or 254,000 square feet and up. And we did provide what those actual capitalization rates were.
Absolutely. And
So we did try to look at both pieces, sorry.
yeah, sorry. I don't, Mr. Chairman, I don't, you ask any question about page 38, because it's all based on my rebuttal evidence, because I don't want to repeat anything, that's why I did not.
And we will get to that momentarily, so
Okay,
we'll come around, he'll be, once we've gone through the questions
yeah,
of his position, then we will allow him to do his rebuttal, and then you will have your rebuttal. So-
okay, sure.
We'll keep moving along as best as we
Yeah.
can. Do you have further questions for me?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. When I move to page number 41. Do you aware about that IFRS has a different intention than the finding market value?
Well, the whole purpose of the IFRS for valuation purposes for a public company is because the value of their stock price. Investors review all this information, so they have to get market value value appraisals of all their properties. When making a determination of what the value of those assets are in the public disclosure. So this is why we provided this information, just to give a sense of what they're looking at internally, what their capitalization rates are for these properties.
That's the capitalization chart, is the internal capitalization chart from the primers.
Correct. So when they're valuing these properties using their IFRS process, and because they have to look at these every quarter. And you can see, this is how the capitalization rates are. So this is for their entire portfolio. So again, they got properties all across Canada. But what we wanted to do is we want to take a look at what those capitalization rates were. And you can see that the weighted average capitalization that they're using has been since kind of over the last little bit has been around that 7%. So September 30th, 2022, 7%. And then if we take a look at June 30th, 2022, 6.57. So right around that 7% range. And that's for their full portfolio. So again, one additional consideration for us to look at when we're making a determination of correct capitalization.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all my questions. I will ask the next round after.
Yes, we will get to the rebuttal and
Thank
we'll
you.
carry on from there. Ms. McFadden, would you like to have questions of the appellant at this point?
A lot of detail here.
Yes, there is.
Just to clarify then, on an overall basis, you're disputing the cap rate, you're disputing the rents, thinking they should be lower, and you think the shortfall should be higher overall.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Whitbread, do you have questions at this time, sir?
I do. So I just want to clarify. You made the comment that probably with those rents that you threw in as a monthly instead of an annual, there should be some alteration and it might amount to as much as $35,000.
Yeah, about 20 to 30. Depend if we adjust for that, I imagine it'd be about $20,000 or $30,000 additional.
Right, and if you capitalized it at 7%, that could be as much as $400,000 or $500,000 on your end value. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there could be some additional value there, and if you want, we can certainly run the numbers, and I have all the spreadsheets necessary to tell you exactly what the
I
impact would
thought
be.
you would. Mr. Chair, I think it's worthwhile getting that number.
Sure.
If
We,
one of them can run the numbers and we carry on. Is
yeah, that would be ideal, Mr. Whitbread. So if maybe gentlemen, one of you can kind of figure out what that would look like and
Yeah, you bet.
once you have that number, we can share that. Any further questions or did you want to ask while we are waiting, sir?
Yes, yes. So maybe you can answer some questions about interest rates and interaction with capitalization rates.
Certainly, so,
Can I ask the question and then get your?
sorry, I apologize, I thought that was the question.
The interest rates in on the reference date in 2023, can you tell us what the BOC Bank of Canada rate would have been?
I believe it was about 4.75 on the
Something
big.
like that. So I'm going to take it up to a macro level. I don't want to deal with the details because we've had plenty of that from you guys. If I'm an investor, or if there's an investor out there with $100 million, and they're going to look at an investment like this, and they could put that money in a place where they could earn 4.75 or 5% safely, pretty safely. Are they going to want to go out and spend that money on a risky investment like a mall, or a semi-risky investment like a mall with only a premium of 1 or 2%? Can you talk to that relationship?
Certainly. So to your point, as we see interest rates increasing, they're always, investors are always taking a look, and these are big pension funds and REITs. They're looking at where they can get the best return for their money. So if they were looking and saying, okay, well, I can get 5% at a risk-free GIC, or I can invest in a mall, or 4.75 in a GC, or I can invest in a mall, and I've got to deal with all the headache and hassle that come with that, they would certainly be looking for a premium. And typically, it's kind of the 2.5% higher, 3% higher, depending on the asset, for what that premium would be. And then there's other factors that come into play. So yes, I would agree that that would be a factor in their consideration.
And that would impact the cap
That's
in an upward position.
exactly. So if they're looking for a higher capitalization rate.
Now I come back to, I'm not going to find it, I'm sure. You talked about some, just bear with me. You did some mall surveys, I believe, 2018 to 2022. Correct? I'm darned if I can find it on this page.
Are those the sales?
Yeah, the sales
Okay.
you know about.
Page 30.
Page 38, please. Yeah.
Yeah, bear with me, I'll be able to hopefully better make my point because you had a summary. Yeah, now you talked about the capitalization rates ranging from 5.75 to 9% with an average rate of 6.85. Is it fair to say if you excluded, say, the older sales, the 2018 sales, 2019 sales, because interest rates were quite low then, weren't they?
They were, yes.
We saw a fairly significant swing in interest rates from 2018 to 2023. Do you think in your educated opinion that then that average cap rate might be even higher than the 6.85 if you just use more recent, closer to reference date sales?
And I think if we take a look, you can see that, I mean, again, these are across Canada, so there's some variance there. But if we take a look at, you can see in 2019, we have 5.75, 7.5. And if you take a look at 2021, there was one at 5.95 and one at 9%. Now, just as a note, these are community malls. If we take a look at if you take a look at the regional malls, which is the top one, you can actually see in 2022, there's a mall that sold in Edmonton with an 8.5 capitalization rate. And then if we take a look at the 2019 ones, they kind of range from 6 to 8%. And again, these are located in different markets. We understand these are located in different markets, but I feel that lacking the information on out of Winnipeg, this does kind of give a sense of what capitalization rates investors are looking for.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's all we have to deal with from an information point of view. So I understand that totally. Okay, that's fine. I think that's all I want to talk about. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so do we have a revised number, gentlemen?
Sorry, I'm just doing that right now. Give me give me 1 sec. If you ask a couple questions and Carson can answer.
Yeah,
your
I'll-
questions.
Further to Mr. Whitbread's question regarding the cap rates that have brought in on page 38. And a comment that you made earlier about the type of investors that would normally buy these types of assets. Would it be safe to say that potentially some of these sales that are being shown here are part of a multi-property sale that may have happened? And do you know if that's in fact the case? I know that some of these large investors, they're not buying one at a time. They may be buying 10 or selling 10 at a time. And somebody may come along and say, well, I want that, or so are these multi-rural or locations, multi-city locations that these sales that you've shown us may be part of? Is that possible?
I'm not.
Yeah, I could jump in. So when it comes to the regional malls on page 38, I believe these ones were not because your point is correct. A lot of times when you have the REITs and pension funds, they are trading between themselves and they're buying a couple different properties in a portfolio. I believe in these ones though, these were the single ones that did transact. When we take a look at the dates, those are all separate. And when we take a look at the capitalization rates, and the reason we did that is on a portfolio basis, we find that we have a harder time finding capitalization rates.
No, and I understand your problem, but I'll point to the fact that you pointed to the 2022 sale. Is it possible that RioCan being the seller, looks like RioCan has been a seller twice in this list. Is it possible that they were selling off pieces of their portfolio on those 2 different years? Maybe they sold 5 here, maybe 10 more down the line. I don't know. RioCan's a really big company.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's why I asked that question.
I believe, yeah. So to your point, yes, absolutely. RioCan owns a lot of properties, and then they divest as they move, as they change their market view. In this case, these were single transactions that occurred. But no, to your point, there are situations where they do sell a number of properties all at once.
Okay,
So
fair.
yeah,
That's what I was looking for there. And with respect to let me see here. I've written down here, did you look at the market comps for some of the rents that were being used? And I'd like to have you comment on that, please.
certainly. So we did take a look, and we have this in the rebuttal, but we can certainly talk about it here if you like.
Okay, if it's in the rebuttal,
Yeah.
we will get to that directly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think we can move along,
And-
unless you've got something to add that will be not part of the rebuttal.
You bet. The one thing I wanted to Mr. Whitbread's request on the difference between
Yes.
using it the annual. So taking a look at those units that were highlighted and taking those monthly rents and turning into annual rents.
Yes.
So right now, using the monthly rents, we have it's $1,495. If we take and annualize those, I'm getting $17,940. So that's going to be a difference of $16,445 between the two. And if we capitalize that, at 7%, that's going to be a difference of about $234,928.
So that would be an additional revision then?
Yes, so I do
So
apologize.
then, no, it's fine. Then maybe we could get that additional revision then.
You bet. So just give me one moment here. So if we take a look, that would be for the mall on page 17.
Yes,
We should have a revised value of, there should be a revised potential income on there already of 2,282,135. And if we include that additional value of 16 $16,444 or $445. 16,445. That gives us a new potential income. So this would be the top on the mall, the potential income of, just bear with me here. $2,298,580.
Okay.
So that's page 17 in the mall. And then if we take a look at what the impact of that is going to be on the net operating income. Give me a second here. I don't know. That's going to change that net operating income for that to $2,004,253. Which will increase the value of the mall component to $28,632,000. Which will change the overall value request to $84,998,000.
998.
Yeah, 84,998.
You.
Based on those changes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so. I think with that, I don't have any more questions at this moment, but you have rebuttal, gentlemen. So please, if you could walk us through your rebuttal,
Certainly.
and then we will go through the questioning of that, and then we will move on.
You need one moment to
Yes.
distribute it.
Of course. Maybe we should take a quick break.
That's a nice idea. Thank
I
you.
need a printed copy for their,
We don't provide proof.
but I don't have.
You know what, if we flip your computer around,
Yeah, Marina, you could just look at mine.
yeah, would that work, Marina? If you just looked at our laptop, would that be help? I know it's not the best solution, but at least you can see what we're looking at.
At least you'd be looking
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
information, then have them send it to you so that you
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
email
have
it.
it later.
Yeah, because unfortunately we didn't print copies either.
So let's do that while we recess for 5 to 10 minutes, giving everyone an opportunity to get that squared away. That'd be good.
That work? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much and welcome back. We will now move to rebuttal question or rebuttal from MNP if we could. Well, gentlemen, if you'd like to bring your rebuttal information forward, that'd be great.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So I'll present part of it and then I'll kick it over to Carson. He'll present part of it, just so everyone's kind of be aware. If we can all confirm, and I believe, what is the total page number? It's 14. If we all confirm we have 14 pages.
Do
Excellent. So from this, if we can turn to, let's start on page 6, please. Okay, so it should be titled rebuttal, and the first point there, just if everyone can confirm, it's the title is 3.0 rebuttal, is that correct?
It might be page 5.
Or is it page 5? Okay,
Oh, sorry. Page 5.
Yeah,
yeah, okay, yeah,
Sorry.
excellent.
There we go.
Okay. All right, so in the assessor's brief, they provided pictures on page 12, 13, and 14. And in these pictures, they had provided, these were interior pictures of Grant Park, and there were various tables set up selling items. We did reach out to the property manager to just get a sense of what was going on because we hadn't seen it. The response that I have provided there, you can see is that this is a new initiative of Grant Park in 2025. Trinity Events hosts local vendors to set up booths in our common area, and we hosted this event 3 times over the course of 2025. So I think really what we're looking to show to the board here is that yes, we understand that there is booths in that. However, all of that took place post-fact. That would all have occurred in 2025, and there's only 3 events, and the total fee for that would be $9,000 in 2025. So again, this is certainly not a significant revenue source for the mall, and this all took place post-fact. So we want to provide that clarity to the board, just to make sure that we're all on the same page when looking at those pictures.
Okay.
If the board will turn me to the next page. So this is in rebuttal to the leasing information provided on pages 15 to 18. So again, some of this information had come up through questioning, but what we had done is we provided the leasing information provided by the city of Winnipeg. So they had provided their small sewer use space. We provided that leasing there, and you can see it ranges from $45 to $105. Oh, everyone okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and then one of the comments that was made was, well, the leasing information was only an extract when we were looking through the assessor's brief. What we have provided here is we provided all the leasing information for the subject property that's under 1,000 square feet. And what you can see when we take a look at this is you can see primarily the higher leases are the oldest leases in the building. And when we take a look at the newer leases, you can see that the leasing activity kind of from 20 onwards is it ranges between, the high 20s to the low 30s on a per square foot basis. So again, when we take a look at the actual performance of the property, and I think this has already been alluded to by the assessment department, it is not performing as well as the other regional shopping centers that they had provided in their analysis. If the board will turn with me to the next page. So again, this is the same process done for medium-sized CRUs. Oh, and just one.
Oh, sorry, page 7.
Page 7. This is the same process done for medium-sized CRUs. Again, we took a look at the information provided by the city of Winnipeg. We provided that information there to the board. You can see that leasing for medium-sized CRUs ranges from 40 to 80. And again, the assessment department had stipulated or agreed that leasing is superior, but when we take a look at leasing from the subject property and we provided all those leases for the medium-sized CRUs, we can see that these are all with the exception of one at $40 that was signed in 2016. Everything is significantly below that rate. We can also see there are a couple instances of percentage rents and some gross rents that are signed within that space. So again, when we take a look at this, it would be our position that when it comes to the medium CRUs, we can see that the property is not performing similar to the other properties that the assessment department had indicated. And then finally, on the next page, this is the large CRUs.
Sorry,
Hang on.
Mr. Chair, just an interruption here.
Yeah, go ahead. What is it, sir?
Did you not cover this in your primary evidence, sir?
Well, I think he's changed the one table and he's showing if I remember correctly here, mid-sized CRUs, and he's given it to us in order of oldest and newest. I think that's what he's trying to do, and he's trying to show us that the newer rents are somewhat lower than what they were number of years back.
Yeah.
Is that
The point.
That's exactly. Yeah, so we're just taking the information that the assessment department provided on their pages and just showing the actual performance of all those spaces and showing it within a chronological order to show where the leasing came in.
I thought you'd done that very clearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just more of an advice. This is just an easier format for the board to reference. So again, I only have one more, which is the large CRUs. Same theory on that one. So again, that would be on page 8. So again, taking a look, same idea. There's only 2 of those larger spaces that will qualify within the subject property, and we can see that they are performing lower. Those are a little bit older rents spaces, but again, same idea. I'm just saying, hey, if we take a look at the actual performance compared to what it is, it's different. And then finally, if the board will turn with me to page 9, we have the same thing for the kiosks. So kiosks and food court, again, we've just taken a look we've put it in terms of a timeline for the information provided by the city. And we can see that the most recent leasing is kind of at the, we got 410 or 110, 245 and 410. And then we take a look at the actual leasing from the property. We can see that the leasing coming from 2021 is 106 and $200. So again, quite a bit lower than what we were seeing from that, certainly on the low end of that range. So really what we're trying to provide is just a brief explanation of how the property is performing compared to the comparables that were brought forward by the assessment department. And I'll kick it over to Carson to take care of the next step.
Yes, I'll do my best to just keep this brief. If the board will follow me to page 10, regarding the warehouse rent comparables, as previously alluded to, it is our opinion that these comparables are superior to the subject property. The assessor has omitted the clear wall heights for these properties. The clear wall height does have an impact on value for retail warehouses. And then just quickly, I have provided photos of the comparables showing that for the most part, these are standalone retail warehouses. And these are not retail warehouses that are a part of a enclosed regional mall. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Does that conclude the information you have for this regarding rebuttal?
It
Yes.
does. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Benoit, would you like to ask questions of their rebuttal, please?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Page number 5. I honestly, my pictures are showing the current condition of the Grand Park Shopping Center. Do you agree about that?
Yes, you had indicated that that you had been there in October of 2025. However, when we reviewed it, we were just wanting to make sure that the board was aware that those pictures were not representative of what was happening in the pictures, and that it was only started happening in 2025.
Okay, do you believe I don't have any intention about taking any pictures of the whatever the trade show having there? I just take the pictures of the mall.
No, and that's fair, but in reviewing this, we weren't sure what was going to be covered, so we wanted just to make sure that we had that information and we're able to provide that to the board. So again, we're a little limited as we haven't heard your presentation yet when we're doing rebuttal, so we just want to make sure that we have to make some guesses as to the purpose and the intent of some of that information. That's the reason why we provided this.
Okay, this actually make me ask one question from you. I avoid asking that question. What time actually you take the pictures of the Grand Park Shopping Center inside? Because most of the units were closed at that time.
So we were there, so it would have been
January or February of last,
And
or I guess it would have been this year.
Well, it would have been it would have been in the afternoon. So we were, because we had gone for lunch. So we had gone to a place first. It would have been January, and then we'd gone for after there. So it would have been the early afternoon.
Okay, because that pictures look so empty. My pictures look so active. That's the only difference I'm seeing the picture set. But Grand Park Shopping Center is the Grand Park Shopping Center.
I think that what we're looking at is just pictures from a different time and date on the calendar, and I don't think that
It's
really
issue.
much turns on
Okay,
either bit of information, quite honestly, and I don't think Ms. Tenwara added anything to her valuation for that, so
No.
let's move past that. So gentlemen, that is your presentation. You've asked questions.
no, I have.
You have one more?
One,
Okay,
two
two more?
three
Okay.
more. Okay. You understand the first table is the rent comparables for the property. For the page number 6 is the first table is the rent comparables.
So these are the small size CRUs that you provided in your submission. We just wanted
It's rent comparables because those are not within the subject property.
Right.
You understand that?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to show how the subject property is comparing to the rent comparables that you used. And the purpose is just to simply show that if we take a look at the actual leasing for similar sizes out of the subject property, that they are not achieving the same rents.
And also, do you understand if we go through one by one, our rental rates are lower than actual lease rents most of the time. Do you understand that? Because the page number 19 is the actual rents I use for calculate the Grand Park Shopping Center.
And we compared the actuals versus the contract versus the assessed rents in our submission. The whole reason we provided this is that the city on page 15 to 18 provided leasing information from properties that they had deemed comparable. And we wanted to show that leasing information is all taking place at higher rents than what is coming out of the subject property. So I think the assessor had already indicated that the subject property is inferior, and we're again just
Moving
showing that.
forward at that point.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Yes, and the same thing for everything, right? All the tables you show the comparables versus the subject list.
Right, so we took a look at the information the assessment
Yeah,
department
you don't
provided.
have any questions then?
Okay, then.
Yeah.
So asked and answered.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Whitbread, do you have any questions regarding rebuttal at this point? sir?
I have none, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McFadden, any questions at this point?
I have none, thank you.
And I don't believe I have any either, so Ms. Moore, I understand you have a rebuttal that you would like to submit.
Can I do the presentation now?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Okay. Thank you. Reference page 38 on MNP brief. I went through all the sales to find out what type of shopping center and where it located and those kind of things. And all of those pictures are for those ones. The first one is, I don't know if they were or not. This seems to be the first one. It's not the retail warehouse, it's the industrial building. It might be accidental.
So you're looking at your page
38.
38.
Versus my, oh, sorry, my numbers, my one doesn't have page numbers. The first page,
Okay, so it says press train
pedestrian industry.
industries on the front
Yeah.
page, okay? And so what are you pointing at, please?
Is it not that, is it a retail warehouse or is it accidentally put in the different sale?
Believe that this was a mall, so this would have been a regional mall at 372,000 square feet.
When I Google search it, I got something different, but I kind of tried 2-3 times to get it something different. I got the exact same thing.
Sorry, so you're suggesting that this is
Not this regional shopping center.
not a regional shopping center,
It seems to be an
an
industrial,
industrial?
automotive industrial to be precise, apparently. Is
Okay,
that possible, gentlemen?
relatively certain that it was, give me 1 second, relatively certain that we were looking at. When we collected this information, it indicated this was a regional mall. Second here. Wisconsin. So this is. I'll be honest, when we collect this information, we collect it from a sales database. So I had collected it as a regional mall. It was between Granite Reed and Oak Street. So I had taken that as what it was. But I didn't, I'll be honest, when I took a look at it, I looked at it briefly to get the capitalization rate and sale price, but I didn't look at actually what it was. So I apologize, I didn't provide the sales information for that. Right?
No problem.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And my page number 2, my apology for not putting numbers on my rebuttal, but I'm moving to the next page. 1250 Service Road. And do you believe this location is comparable to the Grand Park Shopping Mall?
No, it's in Ontario, but again, we're just simply saying, how have other regional malls been selling? As we don't have a lot of information, we're tasked with trying to determine how REITs and pension funds are transacting other similar regional malls. So we can see that mall sold in Mississauga, and it sold for a 6.2 capitalization rate.
And third page is the exact same question from me. I see it's as a strip mall. do you believe this is comparable to Kiran Park Shopping Center? I know this all in outside the Winnipeg.
Mhm.
I understand those ones. I at least characteristics why.
Again, it's 254,000 square, it's 254,000 square feet. And we're taking a look to try to get a sense of what what an asset this size would sell for. So I do think it's a indication, something to be considered when we're taking a look at it.
Then all of those pages showing.
Sorry, also, I don't believe that this one is a strip mall. It does seem that there are some enclosed spaces. Just looking at the.
Okay, it's open for it's entrance from the outside to inside. It's not the enclosed mall.
Okay, so.
Yeah. And by all of those pictures go, I'm not going through all of those ones because my intention is showing. My question is do you believe those is a true comparable to the Garden Park Shopping Center?
I think we're.
The cap rate wise.
You bet. I think one of the challenges that we're all facing and we have to take a look at is how do we come up with a capitalization rate for a property where we don't have any sales of regional malls. So we've taken a look, we know Grant Park is about 405,000 square feet. And we've taken a look at properties that range from 254,000 square feet to 434,000 square feet. And to see what are these properties selling for in terms of capitalization rates. So we would know that these are similar purchasers, KingSett, BentallGreen, RioCan, they all operate primarily, they all operate in the same markets, they all compete with each other. And what are they buying at, what capitalization rates are they paying for similar properties? Now, is it exactly the same? No, they're not exactly the same, but does it give us an indication of whether or not what capitalization rates is trading for? I think it does, and I think without any other information, it's kind of, it's an imperfect estimate of what we got.
Okay. And also when the sale price is confidential and price per square foot is confidential, how they come up with the cap rate?
So the capitalization rate is collected by, so we use a couple different sources. We use both Altus Insight and we use CoStar. When CoStar understands these sales, what they do is they do some market research. So they phone the owners and they ask questions such as, what is the actual capitalization rate? Can you tell us what the net operating income is? In some cases, the owners will say, yes, we can provide the capitalization rate, but we won't provide the sale price just for confidentiality reasons. So we did provide all that information there for the board as much as we could. But again, we're only as good as the information that we can collect from these third parties.
And what is the source from this information? What's the source you use? Because it doesn't show the source.
You bet. So all of this information, so we have a number of sales databases. So one would be Altus Insight or Altus that we have that collects this information. The other one is CoStar and CoStar is a firm out of the US. They cover all of Canada, and this is their job, is to collect information on transactions. So that would be sale prices, that would be the owners and buyers of these properties and capitalization rates and general information about the sales.
Might help to make that as a footnote for the future.
For sure, will do. Sorry, and I do apologize.
No, they're just to keep it simple, because
Yeah, absolutely, we can do that.
Then I'm moving to 274 Millennium Park Way, Ontario. It's my apologies for that page.
So that would,
Yeah, then you aware that's the neighbor shopping center box store type unit.
yeah, so if we take a look, and I apologize, this might not have been clear in my presentation. So the first table is sales of regional shopping centers. The second is community malls or neighborhood shopping centers. So community mall, neighborhood shopping center, there's some overlap there. Really what we were wanting to do is we were wanting to look at is there a difference between how those two are transacting?
Okay, you believe neighbor shopping center sale cap rate is higher than the regional shopping center?
No, we believe that we took a look and we do see the fact that there is a bit of a difference there. With regional shopping centers selling with a higher average capitalization rate.
Okay, when we remove the neighbor shopping center from the community shopping centers, you will get the lower capitalization rate.
Again, regional shopping center, we have regional shopping centers on the top table there. And then community and shopping centers on the lower table. So when we take a look at the regional shopping centers on the top, so that would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the top. We do believe that does support, that's what our analysis is based off. So you can see those areas, the sizes of those are quite a bit larger.
I'm not going to go through everything, the pages for the pictures, and you will see the pages and pictures. And next I'm moving to leasing commission, tenant inducement and tenant improvements allowance. It's reference the pay, brief, your brief, applicant's brief of page 29.
So this is page 18, I believe then,
I guess so, sorry,
that's okay.
that's my mistake.
Electronically, it looks like it's 18.
Yes,
So-
electronically 18. I'm referring to page number 29 of applicants.
Okay, 29 of the applicants, thank you.
And the landmark cinema. I'm putting those municipal board orders for the leasing commission and the on tenant inducements and all of those ones. Those municipal board orders are showing, and we are not, Manitoba, we don't use those ones for the reduce the rental rates. Are you aware about that one?
Sorry,
Tenant inducement,
right,
Yes.
so when we took a look at this, the reason that we made an adjustment is because they had $1 million that were as interest free. So our calculation was, what was the amount of interest that they avoided paying? And what would the impact be? So we calculated the impact was 50 cents a square foot on the interest that they weren't paying. So we didn't, it's not like we subtracted the tenant inducements. We just took a look at what the interest free, what they were saving on interest and what that was gonna be to a benefit.
I
But
think
if-
she's asking a very specific
Oh.
question.
Sorry,
yeah.
am I aware?
You were aware about the, in Manitoba,
Mhm.
when we not adjust the rental rates based on those kind of commissions, inducements, anything. Do you aware about, we have municipal board orders for that?
Okay, I see your municipal borders. I see them there.
Okay, are you aware of them, sir?
I'm aware of them. Again, I don't think we subtracted it, so I don't know the relevance, but yes, I am aware that they are there.
Okay,
But you are using $12.50
Right.
for the. But they're actually paying $13.
Right,
And we use for $11 for,
right, yeah.
okay,
yes,
I think we understand where we're at.
yes.
Go on.
And now I'm moving to next municipal board order. This is about regarding 393 Portage Avenue.
Okay, which order is that?
This is for referring page number 41 MNP. Page.
So,
Which page?
About the page 41, it's about the cap rate.
I don't know on yours, Marina.
Which page in your rebuttal?
Is it 20?
20.
Does it show Mr. Smelly as the chairman?
What's the board number, the file number, or the order number?
Order number A 97280, is that correct?
No. Or
That's the order
A
number,
13060.
Oh, 813, okay.
so that's not this one.
This is address for this property for 393 Portage.
Yeah, just.
I'm not finding that one.
Yeah, I'm looking myself, sorry. Marina, can you show me the page you're looking at, please?
Is that page 55?
A 13060?
Yes.
Yeah.
That might be page 56 there.
56, okay, well, no worries, I just hadn't gone that far. Oops, here we go, getting close. Six, yes, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, this is, for page 41 for the, brief, appointment briefs. This is regarding cap rate.
Okay.
We have municipal board order for this property. This is Portage Place property. That means municipal board order clearly said about we are allowed to use different cap rate in different income streams. I highlighted in page number 3. I mean the page number 3 on order and page number 6 on order. And parkade and the shopping center use a different cap rate. And do you aware of this board order?
No, I wasn't aware, but I would state that a parkade and a regional and a mall are two very different asset classes. I apologize, I haven't been able to read
It's
through.
in the,
So
do
it's
you
a-
know about this part?
So there's a parkade and a regional shopping, and a shopping center, is that correct?
It's in the same
Right,
building.
same building. I mean, again, I would say that I would say that a capitalization rate or parkade functions differently in the market than a shopping center. And in this case, we're looking at all a shopping center. So, I mean, I would still say that any investor who's buying it would be buying it for one capitalization rate, but I can see there's a decision. I do see the decision here without being able to without being able to review it in entirety. I can't really speak to it.
Gee, I know a little bit about this.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you might be, you're probably in a much better position than I am to be able to speak to the
I
specifics.
can't speak to it, it's just, it's whatever's written in front of me at this point. Okay,
Okay.
so your question then to them, or,
Do you aware about that?
No, I wasn't aware. No, I was not.
And we, in Manitoba, in Winnipeg, we use a different cap rate for the different income stream.
I do know you use the different cap rate. In this case, again, we are disputing that and we'd argue that one capitalization rate it'd be more appropriate.
And last 3 municipal board orders. Board order number A23106.
Jordan?
Last 3 orders. 19A 10418 that's the final, sorry.
So file number is 1A1.
0418,
Okay, good. That's
From
page
that,
60
yeah.
That's page 65.
page 65. Page 69 showing for the Canadian Tire, we agreed to that market rates of $11.83 from 2023 cycle. But because we don't have any rent comparables.
Sorry, yeah,
Sorry,
This is the municipal board orders for the
Okay.
supporting Canadian tire rental rates. Should be higher than $6.75.
Sorry, I'm not clear. I'm not entirely sure if I'm clear on what you're referring to. Sorry.
Those are the municipal board order
Okay, yeah.
came out for the how to determine the Canadian Tire, but this is not for the Canadian Tire in Grand Park. But this is the Canadian Tire in region, but the Canadian Tire is a similar type of property. And those rental rates are vary from $11.83 and upwards.
This is from the 2020 assessment cycle?
This is 2023 cycle.
This is the 2023 cycle?
Yeah.
Ah.
This is a municipal board order, that's why I only reason I bring it to, this is not comparing the assessment. This is a municipal board order.
What date was the order made?
Oh,
May
sorry.
11th, 2023.
And it looks like it was from the 2022 assessment.
Oh, sorry, it's
2022.
2020 assessment cycle.
Okay.
20.
Yes,
Well-
2020 assessment cycle,
And
sorry,
it's-
my
and it's-
apologies.
And it's for Kildona Place.
No, this is for the standalone Canadian Tire
On a region.
and one region.
Okay,
The Canadian Tire rental rate should be higher than $6.75. I'm putting these three municipal board orders to support the market rate will be higher.
I-
Do you aware about these municipal board?
I
orders?
wasn't involved in any of these,
And so you weren't aware.
yeah,
of-
I don't know the details and I can't speak
It
to those.
appears you have some late reading to do later.
Yeah,
The municipal board doesn't make it easy to access their decisions.
Yeah.
They don't publish them.
yeah,
Those are
No.
public documents. I know it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's
They don't
but-
it's part of the
publish
problem,
decisions.
but
I mean,
you're now getting some municipal board decisions to read.
there we go, yes, I see that there's the decision, I'm not sure what was shared, and this was for 2020, I don't know, or, so I can't speak, I won't be able to speak to it.
And I doubt if the municipal board is able to make a decision for all Canadian tires when they're looking at one individual property.
Yeah, it appears that, and I'm sorry, Mr. Nora, are you just showing the board's orders with respect to Canadian Tires? There's two or three of them here, is that it?
One is for the very close proximity
Yes.
to Walmart. It's Thousand Taylor.
Okay.
But I wrote this one for because it's a close proximity to Grand Park Shopping Center.
Okay,
That order showing $12 is the appropriate rental rates for the Walmart, which is little bit larger format retail store, close proximity to the Garden City Shopping Center.
right.
The other board, Grand Park, Thousand Taylor board order. And 1590 Region Avenue board order is for the Canadian Tire again.
Okay.
That's the only intention.
Okay, so. Gentlemen, you obviously were not aware of these board orders, correct?
We're not, no.
Okay, fair enough. Anything further to war?
The final question, because you have 7% final question, the 7% cap rate, you solely rely on page number 38 or rely on the authors group inside? Or how you come up with the 7% is appropriate cap rate, because so many evidence showing 6.885 is the appropriate cap rate, then we are using 6.65, then it's you are jumping to 7%. How do you come up with the 7% is appropriate? Many places pay showing is 6.85. But we are very close to 6.85.
So to answer that question, so on page 38, so we understand that this is kind of a difficult situation for the board to grasp, because we don't have digital sales within. So we're trying to look at as many different opportunities, many different areas to collect information as possible. What does that mean? What does that say? What indications do we have? So on page 38, we looked at sales within the market. So these are sales of regional centers that sold within the market. We, from these sales, can see that the regional malls, this is the top part, sold with capitalizations ranging from 6 to 9% with an average of 7.33%. When we take a look at the most recent leasing, the most recent sales in 2022 and 2019, they range from 6 to 8.5% for the capitalization. So that's the market piece. That's across Canada. Then we try to get a little bit more granular. We're saying, okay, well, what is Altus saying for Winnipeg or for Manitoba? And again, because of urban sales, we provide that information on page 39 to say, okay, this is what they're saying through a process of collection of information, through a survey. They're saying capitalization rates for Q4 2022 is 7.4%. So again, 7.4%. The reason we provided the information from JLL is to show that capitalization rates have been increasing from 2018 onwards. And again, part of that ties to the fact that that interest rates have been going up, and as a result, we're seeing capitalization rates grow up. And then finally, the last piece that we're looking at is what is Primaris using for theirs. And if we take a look at what Primaris is using for their capitalization rates, and we take a look at April 1st, 2023, again, they don't have anything for April 1st, 2023. They've got a capitalization rate of 6.92%. So again, we're trying to gather as much information as we can from as many different areas as we can. They got March at 6.87, June at 6.92. So again, we're trying to look at as much information as we can as we go down this road. So taking all of this information into consideration, we have to ask ourselves, what is a reasonable capitalization rate to use? So we use 7%, looking at all of these factors combined to help direct to say this is what would be reasonable, lacking any other information.
Mr. Chair, can I
Yes.
kindly ask one more question?
Sure.
Do you believe all this group inside survey showing 7.4 is the appropriate cap rate for the shopping center? Would they sign the C-15-1 agreement for 6.65 cap rate? Where is the mistake?
I can't speak to what was done, Bruce. I can't speak to the conversations or what was done.
Unfortunately, they weren't involved in
Yeah,
the
but-
prior, so. And I appreciate what you're saying. We had to deal with the previous agent. This agent comes the following year and says something different.
And
It's their prerogative to come with whatever
Yeah.
they believe.
And I actually, all this group inside do actually involve with the Winnipeg. It is not, as I believe. Because I request a copy of the inside. I did not get on time, unfortunately. As my understanding, those cap rates are opinion only, not involved with Winnipeg.
No, I agree. If you take a look at page 39, we agree. We say review the Altus Insight Mark. MNP has reviewed Altus Invite survey where they collect information from market participants about capitalization rate. And we agree that it's Manitoba for grouped tier 2 regional malls that they're looking at. But again, we are limited with the information that we have, so we have to try to collect as much information as we can to make a determination.
And further, the onus is on the assessor to prove that their value's correct. We've looked at multiple sources for our cap rate. And the city, in your evidence, there is no evidence that supports your cap rate.
Well, forgive me, but on page 39 of your submission, gentlemen. On the bottom of page 39, you have a table that shows super regional cap rates and regional cap rates. They range by year. Mid-year of 2018 going to the left to mid-year 2022. The range goes from 4.75 up to 5.62 for the regional investment grade retail. Is that not showing you what big nationals are looking at, gentlemen? It appears, and again, forgive me, but it appears that the regional mall inside investment survey above that is guessing, maybe, I don't know, but then you have, and I'm guessing this is a nationwide overall capitalization rate at regional mid-year 2022 at 5.62. You're suggesting 7%, which is basically a 1.5 higher.
Yeah, so again, the reason we provided this is just to show a trend on how capitalization rates have been going. So we can show that from 2018, capitalization rates have been increasing on a general basis. So when JLL does it, they're looking at major urban centers all across Canada. This isn't specific to.
It's not specific to Manitoba.
No, not just, so they're looking across, and really what we're doing is we're just saying, what is the trend on capitalization rates? How have those been changing?
So at the end of the day, let's be frank, it appears that the marketplace is not great for either side at the end of the day. This Tenwara doesn't have any cap rates to point to, and I believe, gentlemen, you really don't have any specific cap rates from the current marketplace. It's fine to point outside when you don't have, I get that, and I appreciate the effort. But we're still in the same spot here. All right, I think that unless there's something you've missed, Ms. Tenwara?
No, I think I covered everything.
Okay, so we have now heard your rebuttal. Do you have any questions of her stuff? Because I think a majority of it was, she was just pointing back at some of yours and some of it being maybe not necessarily absolutely comparable. Is there any questions as a result of any of that, gentlemen?
No, like I may have more questions if I had sufficient time to read through the municipal board orders. I'm not gonna ask board to, have a 30-minute recess so we
Yeah,
can read
that's
through all of it. Yeah.
All good. Ms. McFadden, do you have any questions of the assessor at this point?
I don't have any questions of the assessor. I do have one sort of global question for the applicant, if that would be possible.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, when you're talking about one cap rate versus multiple cap rates, are you applying the highest cap rate across the board, or are you coming to some average cap rate that you apply across the board?
You bet. So when we're looking at this, these regional malls frequently have different components. They have pad sites, they have different parts within the mall. So when we're looking at it, we're looking at these malls selling on a holistic basis. I think there have been some conversation about being able to split up the site. I mean, sure. I don't know what the process is internally within the city of Winnipeg about subdividing sites. I'm sure there's a process, but I mean, we could walk down this road of could have, would have, should have, might have all day long. We have to look at what's physical.
Basically, you're applying the highest rate across the board. That's what you're telling me, right?
We're just saying, what would a regional shopping center sell for? We're not saying all the pieces, we're just saying,
I understand.
We're just selling it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Whitbread, do you have any further questions, sir?
I have none, thanks.
I think I'm satisfied with what we've heard today, so unless you have summation that you want to make either side.
We do have just a quick summation if the board will let.
My information is, I'm asking kindly confirm the assessment. That's all my information.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I think we've talked about, there's a lot of information that's been provided to the board. I think what we have to take a look at, I think the best information for the board to consider is what is the actual performance of the property compared to what the assessment is. We know the assessment department has a value the net operating income of the property of $6,519,672. But if you look at the 2022 financials, that would be on page 33 of the city's brief. The 2021 financials, that's on page 50 of the city's brief. And the 2020 financials, that's page 64 of the city's brief. The board will see that the property has not achieved more than 6.1 million in net operating income. So regardless of how we split it, regardless of how we look at it, the property has been achieving anywhere between 5.8 million to 6.1 million in actual revenue for the property. We have to sit there at some point, we have to say, okay, why is this property performing so much less? And when we went through, we provided those reasons to the board. The second floor space is underperforming. We take a look at the fact that there's gross leases and percent leases within the property. We take a look at the fact that there's a lot of local tenants in the property. All of these support the fact why it's underperforming and show why that is the case. Then when it comes to the capitalization rate, we've talked about it a lot and I recognize that, but the city doesn't have any sales. The city's acknowledged they don't have any sales of regional malls. They have a separate category for them. We've gone and said, okay, understanding we don't have a perfect solution, but what are these malls selling for across Canada? What are market participants expecting these properties to sell for? And internally, what is Primaris looking at these properties and selling for? So we've, again, the assessor said you've looked at a lot of different areas as a negative, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's trying to provide as much information as we can when making a determination. All of that brings us to 7% as a reasonable capitalization rate. And when we take a look at the city's table on page 25, 7% is one of those, is within the range. Colliers is saying that regional shopping centers sell between 6 to 7%. CBRE is saying that regional shopping centers sell for 6 to 7%. And Cushman Wakefield says that regional shopping centers sell for between 6.5% to 7.5%. Through the city's own admission, this property is not performing the same as Polo Park. It's not performing the same as Taylor Place. It's not performing the same as the Outlet Mall. This property is performing lower than all of those. So when we take a look at it, it's our position that that 7% capitalization rate is supported in a number of different ways. Anything you want to add?
No.
With that, that concludes our presentation. Thank you everyone for their time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
So I'd like to thank all of you for your presentations today and your patience. Thank you again. So with that, I believe we've heard all items scheduled and the hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much, all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.